we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I'm gonna live inside the upside down for a minute and pretend, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, and if I say it enough, it gets ingrained in my head, and I start to see, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a, yeah.
I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Don't stare 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares too. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Diggity, a video game podcast, episode number 279. Today, joined with me as always, the incredible, unobtainable, luscious Brody Faults. And
well, hello there.
Joining with us as well, the WSD boys, Nikolai.
What is up?
And Evan waving,
Hello.
interestingly,
Happy
He's excited.
in the camera.
Happy to be here on the show. Happy to be here.
So, anyways, this episode, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going through top 10 games and gaming moments of 2022. I wanted to throw gaming moments in there only because of just weird shit that happened throughout the year.
Yeah.
In the game
Fair
world.
enough.
So I figured I'd kind of take that piece as well as also share some of my games. But
I kind of opened it up to like updates and like anything
yeah.
gaming related. Top 10. Like this is the list.
so it should be an interesting show. And pretty interesting discussion. I'm sure there'll be some ridiculous points made. I'm sure there'll be some arguments, no doubt, because this is what happens when the four of us get together. There's healthy tension.
I did want to say if we mention something and it is on your list, like higher up in the list, tell us to hold off and we'll just talk about it all at once. So we aren't, talking about the same
Over
games
each other.
over and over and over. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it should be fun. I'm excited. We haven't done this, the four of us yet, so this would
You
be
know
cool.
what else we haven't done?
Oh, yeah.
Hit record on that Zencaster.
Motherfucking son of a bitch. It's
You guys-
fine. I'll pull it from the video.
Put it up, baby. Nick,
Evan,
you
Evan's
savior.
Evan messaged me. He goes, "It's not running!" Exclamation! Exclamation! Exclamation!
Oh, my God.
I sent it to Brody. I sent it to
God.
Brody too, and he didn't look at it.
Brody,
I
I
was
did
like,
not.
he's so
So I
happy with
messaged-
All
himself.
right, well, Brody, I'm going to do a laxed intro
Yeah.
then for the Zencaster listeners. And
Okay,
start
just
right,
a quick one.
right meow. All right, so we're going through the top 10 games and gaming moments 2022. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be healthy tension. There's going to be fights, arguments. People are going to make really dumb points about stuff.
I'm gonna cry.
Why? What happened? Is it all good?
Fucking
Cry.
no, yeah, we're good now.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Fantastic.
Dude, if you guys could see,
279 fucking episodes, and I still fucked that up. It makes me so mad. Sorry.
It's fine.
Anyway,
It's okay. It's all right. But yeah, I guess we'll go through also the what should we call it? Should we call it the pleasantries of podcasting? We're part of something called Spawn Camp, which is sexy as fuck. You can go find us on youtube.com/SpawnCamp2, where you can find us as well as these mad lads above us right now from WSD and beyond, talking about sexy shit on the internet constantly towards PC gaming, pop culture. They also talk about the Halo
the
TV
time.
series all the time. But that's
No, we do not.
side point.
it gets brought up a lot.
They're huge
My favorite
fans.
series.
Why does that show get brought up a lot on our show?
you know,
does.
as much as you guys hate it, it lives in your
It
minds
does.
entirely
You say,
rent free.
No, we do not, but it fucking does.
No, then I said that. I'm like, no, I'm an asshole. Yes, it does. It totally does.
There you go.
I got back earlier.
You
in
can also
the-
find us
in
on
the
Instagram and
Discord.
Twitter at Diggity Podcast. And join our free Discord. Not many things in life are free. Our Discord is one of them, and it's not toxic as fuck. Just slightly. Just slightly.
just
But
a
there
healthy
are
amount,
dank
healthy amount.
memes on there.
Yes.
And
It's
it's a
usually
good time.
self-depreciating. It's fine.
It's definitely memes that you wouldn't find on Facebook.
It's true.
Depends what time
Is
you get on.
Deprecating is the word I wanted. It's
Deprecating
fine.
is right.
It is
Defecate.
definitely self-deprecating. Yeah.
Depreciating was not the word I wanted. As soon as it came out, I knew
could
it was
be
wrong.
depreciating.
It's gonna be
Depends.
good. It's fine. It's
It's
fine.
growing.
Appreciating my self-worth. It's fine.
Lower in value the more people join.
But
Oh,
you can
shit.
join our Discord over there. We talk games, we talk movies, we talk music, we talk F1, which
Yes.
comes back to us in February. I'm very excited. I got a F1 TV subscription, so I'm very excited about
Oh,
that.
nice.
Yeah,
very excited.
that's my guy. And yeah, just join on over there. Have a good time. Talk to some awesome people on there. And that is that. Gentlemen, shall we get started? And shall we go in an order of Nick, Evan, myself, and Brody?
We should. I would
In a
agree with
nice
that. I like the
round
clock
manner
ways.
like that. Should
Uh-huh.
we do that?
Yeah.
All right,
So
Nick.
my list is
We just want
obviously
your number 10.
I'm just saying it's split up. So I got games and moments in different orders.
Oh,
Not
shit.
yeah.
That's fun
So at number
Is that
10,
legal?
yeah, it's legal.
Okay.
It definitely wasn't the requirement
Is it
for this
legal?
project, but that's fine.
Well,
Legal.
I this is what I did. So
Okay.
well, I went above and beyond for the A++.
Oh, sweet.
So at number 10, I think High on Life is gonna be at that bottom. But when I played the game and I saw it for the first time, I was stoked, and then I finally played it, and it was one of those moments of the year for me that I haven't had with many games, where everything was so serious and just like brooding, and this was violent or this sucked. High on Life came out and it was hilarious. It was super fun. It brought me back to like the old FPS days. So like that is definitely like a big moment, and then in my top 10 of 2022 for video games for video games in general. High on Life is number 10 for me. Great
Nice.
game. Would recommend
Fair
if you have Game Pass, please play this game. It is free if you have Game Pass.
So I started it and I had to have my headphones on and everything. So I was like, oh, I'm good. Kids were down here playing games. And immediately off the start, when you create your character and you take a line of Coke, I'm like, oh, gotta go. See ya. Fucking exit out. I haven't been back since. Not because I don't want to play it. I just have not made it back to it yet.
It could be rough
Fortnite.
hearing Justin Roiland. I think Justin Roiland's funny, but it could be rough like when you're just like kind of cruising through the world, and it's just like, oh, geez, Rick, and it's like that's all it is, and I'm like, fuck, man, just shut the fuck up. But then like you get those good carrots of jokes.
Yeah.
You get like those really good jokes, and I'm like, wow, that was fucking awesome. But it just gets drowned out. You can turn that down though, by the way, all like the banter from shit, you turn it off.
I heard that like if you let the gun talk and don't even move, he'll talk for like 8 minutes straight on this long rant. Yeah.
You could talk
and
hours. Yeah.
And it's impressive to me. Like that's a lot of writing. That's a lot of work. And I'm impressed, but also, yeah, at a certain point, it can definitely be grating, I'm sure.
There's full-length movies in the game.
Yeah.
You can watch
wild.
entire movies in this. It's a great experience. Everyone should play High on Life if you have Xbox Game Pass.
I will definitely play it.
So
yeah. My dad started playing it the other day, and I told him when he got the first gun to just pause the game, and he pauses the game, and the gun goes like, "I told you to shoot. What the fuck? Everybody knows the pause button. Why would you hit the pause button?" Like he's just giving you a whole bunch of shit because of it. Yeah, he's actually enjoyed it, which I found surprising because my dad doesn't really like Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
like that style of humor.
Yeah.
So he's been enjoying it.
Nice. Avon?
My top 10 was a game we started playing this year in the Discord, Marauders.
Okay.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Nice.
Real fun time.
And you gotta
I'm
move your
big
mic a little
fan.
closer. Just heads up.
Does it? Is it far? Oh, yeah, no worries. Trying to get it right. I don't know what changed between when we recorded like an hour ago to now. So I have no idea.
Okay.
But yeah, Marauders has been a blast when we've played it. It's just like Tarkov, but not as insanely like difficult. It's a lot of fun to just kind of veg out and play and kind of take it seriously, but at the same time, it's not terrible. It's not like a super brutal FPS like Tarkov is. So yeah, playing it with Nick and some of the other guys in the Discord has been a big blast and a ton of fun. Really funny when Nick team kills people. That's always a blast. It's like Nick's calling. Nick's calling is to just, he says it's an accident, but it's like there's only 2 people in the room. You know who the other guy is. So when you shoot him on accident, it really doesn't seem like an accident, bud. It kind of seems like you were hired to do a job. But yeah, no, that makes it to my top 10 for sure.
Okay.
My 10 would be the death of cryptocurrency and NFTs in gaming.
Yes,
and
that's
it all
perfect.
took place within the same year, which was fucking amazing.
They tried to launch it, and at launch, it was like, hit the button, don't hit the button. And they hit the button and it just blew up.
It was
everyone's like,
hey,
oh,
we're
there we
thinking
go.
about doing this. And everyone's like, don't fucking do it.
Don't you dare.
And Team Sonic is still doing it, which means that you should not do that.
Man. Well, fucking Sega. Yeah, it was Sega and Capcom were trying to capitalize on that. And then everyone was like, stop. Yeah, and Ubisoft was doing it really, really bad.
Coin, and then they're like, we are, they had Eves up there being like, we are trying to put it so that there is the NFTs and everything.
Well, Konami did it really bad too. They were trying to capitalize on Metal Gear. Everyone's like, we don't want your Metal Gear NFTs. We just want a new Metal Gear.
And Castlevania, their whole like
Castlevania.
big celebration was, hey, we're putting NFT or putting out some NFTs for Castlevania, and you're like, no, we don't want that. Bring back an old game, like remaster something, do something cool. Fuck your NFTs.
There was actually a rumor, and I don't know how legit it is, but there was a rumor that when they were starting PlayStation Stars, that they were going to give you like they still give you like these artifacts, right? Like they kind of have an Astrobot, and those artifacts would be NFTs that would be worth certain amounts of PlayStation Stars, and then they could be traded for free games and stuff within the marketplace. But that's just a rumor. But I can see how that could be a thing. I mean, that's not bad because you're not buying that for cash.
At that point, you're just trading for.
You're just trading cool shit.
It's a collectible at that point. Like that's okay. But when you're spending
they just
stupid money on
the blockchain, so that like if somebody actually would get like a super rare fucking collectible in their PlayStation Stars account, then which for the first time I went and looked at yesterday for myself because I really
I haven't looked at it yet. No idea.
It's not terrible. It's like $20,000 for free game, like 20,000 stars, and that's not bad at all. I mean, I already have 10,000.
Is it based off trophies? I mean, like similar to that, where you earn
off
them
of trophies, what games
Play
you
time.
buy, when you bought that game, if it was part of like a sale, playtime, like you said, other shit. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, that'd be my top 10 on that. Would be the death of cryptocurrency and NFTs in gaming, because that would have been fucking terrible.
It was like here and then it wasn't. It was like it was quick,
God,
right?
It would have been
fast.
horrendous.
Love to see it.
I just love, by the way, too, while you were talking about that, how Brody, myself, and Nick all took a sip of our respective drinks and put them down.
I saw that.
It was perfectly synced
That's
up.
pretty impressive.
It was pretty good.
Weird.
Yeah,
Synergy.
beautiful.
We're all just sharing the brain cell.
Yeah.
Collectively.
You guys are all on the same menstrual cycle.
I'm always crabby.
You guys are synced up.
I'm always crabby.
So my number 10 is actually a mobile game, believe it or not. Marvel Snap. Thoroughly have enjoyed my time with that game. I haven't played it as much recently, but I plan to get back into it at some point. But it's good, man. I don't typically latch on to mobile games very much. Granted, it is Marvel IP and based off the comics rather than the MCU, so there's actually really cool art and things going on there. And it's got a real, each game takes very, very minimal amount of time to finish. It's like 3 minutes maximum or something, so you can hop in, hop out, and it's collectibles, right? Like you collect different things, and that speaks to my heart in a real fucked up sort of way. And I just enjoyed my time with it, right? And I intend to play quite a bit more. And that's really about all I have to say about it. It's just a damn good card game.
It was a game I was wanting to play for a minute there. I thought about it, and then I can never actually get into mobile gaming.
Same.
I'm never able to do it. Like I didn't play Diablo Immortal, but that also gave me a bad taste in my mouth too, with a bunch of the microtransactions and monetization they were doing. I was like, I don't know.
Microtransactions.
Microtransactions.
Fucking hate that
Guy
guy.
who created
The worst fucking guy.
Microtransaction is the worst man in history.
Back transactions.
So
NFT.
look at this NFT. My number 9 was the Game Awards crossover with Diggity podcast.
Hey!
So I look forward to that shit every year. I look forward to our E3 episodes, even though we put a lot of work on ourselves to do it, and we don't chill at all. And we're talking from literally 8 a.m. to 2 in the morning, trying to figure shit out. Half the time, compiling shit and if it's not all of us at once, it's multiples, right? It's me and Brody or Jeff and Evan and whoever else, and it's really fun. The Game Awards is more lax though. It's all right, hey, we're gonna meet, we're gonna do this episode prior, we're doing it this day for the Game Awards, and then boom.
It was until the end of the Game Awards we all went, what the fuck was that?
We will talk about that later on in this episode. But
Hell yeah.
That's my number 9.
My number 9 is related to a game that's going to be higher up on my list. But as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of racing games and just specifically sports racing in general. My number 9 of this year, and I never really play online racing unless I'm with a buddy and we're just doing like we're playing together, that kind of thing. And but I never really go and I like to play racing online with other people because most of the time my experience with that has been like GTA racing, where it's just everybody's pit maneuvering you to get past. So it's never really like a fun experience in that regard because you can be doing so well and some guy will catch up to you just because of the game mechanics and then pit maneuver you and you end up in last. But anyways, my number 9 was placing in the top 100 of the weekly event for the British Grand Prix this year in F1 2022.
Let's fucking go.
Hell yeah.
Let's fucking go.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
It was a great time. It was just like, because I'd never done it before, so it's a bit different, and like you can kind of get points for doing practice and you get points for doing qualifying and all this other kind of stuff. So I messed up and I did the practice and just ran around the track a couple times. I did qualifying, didn't do very well, and then I did the race. And the race I started in like 13th.
That's good.
And I actually dropped back to like 18th by just the first turn because I wasn't prepared for how they had the rules set up because I couldn't read them. So I actually race started, lights went out, I was in neutral. Wasn't even in the first gear. So got into first gear. By the end of this first lap, I was in third because people spun out, they crashed into each other, or I just my own skill at being able to overtake in like a good spot or knowing when to pick my moment. And I ended up finishing that race in second. Only did one race and then held on. I did that on Friday, and the events last until Sunday, until the race actually starts. So I actually held on to that top 100 spot until Sunday. Nobody was able to beat me until that Sunday. So I was really happy to just kind of be like, okay, maybe I do have something pretty good going on here with this controller. Like maybe I'm not so bad. So yeah.
Oh, you did it on controller instead of the rig?
We didn't have the rig at the time. So I was
gotcha.
only sticking with it. And it's honestly pretty hard to work with the rig because it's just so
Fair
different
enough.
compared to a controller, right? Like you
Probably
gotta
change the wheel on it too.
you gotta really be specific with just with your feet because it's so easy when you're just fall down, that's simple. But when you have to actually like you can't
Control
completely just
it,
go,
yep.
yeah, it's a bit different. So I
The
need to
fuck
work
I
more on
can't. Watch me.
it. Yeah, hey man, everybody's invited to come over and try this thing. I want everybody to do it. But yeah,
Be
so,
over later.
hell yeah. All right, cool. All right, nice party starting.
And then
But yeah, that's my
tell
top.
me that you were in second place and the guy in first said, "Let my teammate overtake you," and you said, "I'm not going to explain myself further."
I told him no. Told him no.
Said what I said.
Yeah, no, I'm not letting you pass me by for some points, buddy. Sorry. I know you need them more than I do, but you don't get them.
Hell yeah.
Well, no, cool. My number 9 is Overwatch 2, and it's a sweet spot, but a sour spot as
Damn.
well.
I'm surprised that is that far down your list. But also, after you said you uninstalled it last week,
I have
Oh, wow.
installed Overwatch 2.
What made you do it?
rehab.
A mixture of a couple things. One, undenying rage. Two,
Yeah, that'll do
the
it.
fact that for 3 goddamn weeks, it was 4 weeks, they didn't bother to fucking fix or update the game or patch it to fix an issue with PS5 parties being able to fucking join. So like when I wanted to join up, you just had to fucking spectate someone's game, hope that someone knocked out of the fucking game, then you'd be part of it, and then you need them to fucking add you
Oh wow.
Jeez.
So
to
stupid.
the squad.
dude.
That was the only fucking way to do it for 5
Yeah.
weeks, bro. For 5 weeks, and this wasn't like this is like 1 in a million. This is a lot of PS5 users on Reddit saying all this shit in the Reddit, like official Overwatch 2 Reddit,
Wow.
and nothing was fucking done about it. And then something was finally done about it, but it was only until they came up with their like a massive update with their fucking new character, a bunch of shit that you could buy in the fucking store, and they're like, oh, and we fixed that. It's like, bro, this was like fucking like 2-3 months into your game releasing. Like, let's fucking, maybe get this fixed. So that was a huge pisser. The new champ or hero, I wasn't too impressed with. I thought it was kind of like lazy, a lot of the design in it. I think it's fucking crazy that they still have not fixed the cost of things in the game. Not that I'm somebody that's really going to go buy skins because you don't fucking see them.
Yeah, right.
While you're playing
absolutely.
the game. So I also kind of sit there and go, that's kind of dumb.
Hey, you see their hands.
Yeah. And
It's
then
important.
the other dumb shit that's in it, like they just like filled it up with a bunch of shit. So like the reason why it's number 9 is because one, it came out. That's a plus, okay? But then all of the crazy mishaps with it and the fact that it's been so mismanaged, and they really didn't have to fucking do much to Overwatch in general. They should have just made Overwatch free and not called it Overwatch 2 first off. But they really did not have to fucking do that much shit to get people to play Overwatch other than just come out with new heroes. And make shit somewhat affordable. Otherwise, I don't see this lasting. Like, I feel like this is going to die. I understand that they're coming out with, like, the campaign eventually. We don't know what the fuck that is. They're going to do more PvE maps. We don't know what the fuck that is.
I love the word eventually being thrown around in gaming nowadays.
Like, oh, we're keeping the
eventually coming.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we're keeping the community updated. It's like, well, you only update once you know, like, everything's done in an update, and then you tell people, like, 7 days before the update's going to come out. Like, what's happening? It's like, that's not
we're
really,
updating
like,
you,
showing
bro.
me your development cycle and showing me what's going on.
Right.
So,
I didn't even know they released another hero. Like until I was just on the Blizzard store one day, and I'm like,
Ramatra,
looking at the sales just to see if there was anything good or anything worthwhile.
Like a fucking prescription drug commercial.
It does.
Sounds like an antidepressant.
Which is funny because Overwatch
may
causes
cause
depression.
Oh shit!
So,
yeah, dude. It's,
certainly might.
So that's why it's my number 9. It came out. I was stunned that it even came out. I think all of us were stunned.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I would say so.
Just given the people that had left. But
a lot of big people,
all the negativity with it, just the fact that you don't update things like that after you've just launched and you're just waiting.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like, not to dismiss the work that they did on this, but the fact that they launched it as Overwatch 2, and it's essentially Overwatch 1.5, and they've had it in the works for this fucking long,
and this is what we got.
Like, we don't even have the single player shit that was supposed to be the big, or not single player, but the PvE shit that was supposed to be the big part of this. Like,
you got the maps
to me,
sitting there.
And it's just such a miss. Like, they added a couple maps, a new hero, and right off the bat, and then a new game mode. And they're like, "Hey, Overwatch 2," and you're like, "What? No, this is it has you put a shiny coat of paint on it, and you're like, hey, look at this."
They sprayed fucking what's that shit you spray on poo in the bathroom? Poopery. They sprayed poopery on top of Overwatch.
Let's hold on now.
Hey,
you don't spray that on poo. You're supposed to
put it in before.
Before you take a shit.
Oh, I do with
surface
both.
area. Your turd breaks the tension, and then oil sits on top.
I do it with both.
Amazing.
Why do you do both? That's not how that
scared.
works.
Well, okay, I got in trouble today at work. Actually,
you got trouble today at work for probably for spraying poopery on the shit.
I didn't tell Evan about this. So to segue really quick,
Evan's like the prophecy is talking about shit on our podcast.
Time out. It's fine. I'm not gonna go too deep into it. Let's just say I had White Castle last night.
Whoa.
Ooh, you don't have to say a whole lot more than that,
my friend. Yeah. So at my work, gonna make this quick. There's like 4 bathrooms. 2 of them we're not supposed to use. 2 of them are for the drivers who have to stay overnight. It's the driver's lounge. But it's the only private
shower?
bathroom. Yeah, there's showers and all that.
Oh.
So I went up to the driver's lounge.
That's perfect for you. You could shit and then shower.
That's what I did, and that's why I got in trouble. Because I blew up the driver's lounge, and everyone was, and like a driver was like, "What the fuck, man?" And he like dipped out of the driver's lounge with my boss, like, "Someone's in the bathroom who's an employee here." And my boss was telling me all this shit. And I was just laughing. He's like, "It's funny, bro. You can't do that again, though, because you made the man sick." And I was like, "Bro, I had White Castle."
Made the man sick.
He's like, not only that, but he said you took a shower. He said when he came back upstairs, there was a shower running. Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, I showered." He's like, "Are you fucking me?"
They're
I'm
all
like, "No, bro."
What? This guy
So, yeah.
showered after he shit, and Nick's like, "Yeah, bro, do it all the time."
Yeah, I fucked that bathroom up. Anyways, My-
It's like a perfect.
Was
It's like
there
a
poopery to use?
no, I took whatever Lysol. I sprayed Lysol on top.
Oh,
You didn't do a courtesy flush?
Rookie move.
I don't know that driver.
Uh
Hit my pants in the truck.
Uh-oh.
You
What
got
is it?
You pooped.
There we go. He's
But you pooped
back.
your pants in the truck. Is that what you said?
This close. I hit a bump, and my asshole went. It tried letting go. Anyways,
Have you never heard of a courtesy flush? Like as soon as you drop, the first section of it, you flush
You
so it doesn't
flush.
just
Yeah.
sit there and
Immediately. Not only does
I
it
know.
help patrons around you, it also helps you yourself.
Yeah, it does.
I'm used to my
You
smell
don't
though.
get
That's
hit with
my
those peanut
smell.
butter fumes, so you can just flush it and be done.
That's my smell though.
Brody, what's your...
So here's
Anyway.
next time you need to take, if you don't have poopery, okay, the Lysol, that's not gonna help you, dog. That's just you're just adding the smell. Of
I added
Lysol to
it.
your
I
shit.
made mustard gas basically.
Yeah, you need
Homemade.
you need to take soap and put soap in the toilet. Hand soap.
It's not a bad idea.
It works.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm going to use that tomorrow when I do it all over again.
Thank you, Mr. Jeff.
Anywho, my number 9 is Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, the big DLC they put out. I wish I
Crazy
put more
stuff.
time into it, but I got distracted with other games and all that. But it is more Monster Hunter. It is probably more challenging than the base game, I would say, by quite a wide margin. And had a good time playing it with Copley and Carrie, and we only played like once or twice together, I think, but it was still a really good time. I enjoy Monster Hunter, and it's some of the best Monster Hunter content you can get currently, and
Nice.
I think they did a bang up job, but I just didn't put enough time into it and investment into it to actually like move it further up my list here. So
See, Monster Hunter is one of those games I've always wanted to play because I've heard it's the easy to play, hard to master type.
Yep.
Monster Hunter.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's always intrigued me, and I've really wanted to dive into that world because I heard it's just this huge world, full of lore and just like love to the story and the characters itself, and the monsters, obviously. So, but I tried the latest one, and I couldn't get into it whatsoever. I don't know why. It just wasn't fun to me, and I fell off it really quick. Who are you texting?
Me
Huh?
to make fun of you, obviously.
I'm texting my
All
wife
three of you.
because
I'm
my
typing in
nieces-
my list.
because
Honorable mentions and shit.
I was texting my wife. I have my nieces.
I put my
over.
wedding
Yeah,
ring
no,
back on.
honorable. I'm sure I'll have a couple honorable mentions this year as well.
I'm just adding shit to my list as we go. But anyway,
Yeah.
I was between moving Marvel Snap and Monster Hunter, but
Oh,
overall I enjoy Monster Hunter not necessarily more, but for what it is, I think I have more respect for it, so I put it at 9 versus Marvel Snap. Not to say anything bad about Marvel Snap, it's still in my top 10 games of overall a pretty solid year, I'd say. I mean,
See, this is the year that everyone bitched about gaming, but we got a lot of fucking games.
I went through the list. There was a lot of pretty big games. I just didn't play a bunch of them. Like Kirby.
either.
Like people loved Kirby, but I didn't play Kirby. I didn't play
didn't play
Splatoon
Kirby
3. I didn't play a bunch of shit. And it was just kind of the way this year went, but I mean overall, it was a pretty good year. Not like fucking over the top crazy good, but it was solid.
It was
It was there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was there.
definitely.
So
Nicholas?
for my for my number 8, it's gonna kind of maybe come out of left field, but Streets of Tarkov release. I know this just released,
Damn.
but we've been
Literally 43 hours ago.
that's why that's why it's so low on my list though. But like it's something
Been
that
able to play it
everybody
once.
in the Tarkov community's been waiting for, and no one thought it was gonna happen.
Over 3 years.
Like no one thought this was gonna happen. This is a bridge to the
so
entire
close.
game. What?
Don't bring up my.
Yeah,
game.
let's not bring up Star Citizen. But this is a
I'll bring
bridge
it up
for
later.
the entire game of Tarkov. This branches up and opens up new possibilities that were promised earlier on. And I'm excited to see if they're gonna stick to those promises, do what they said they're gonna do. It seems so far with Streets looking pretty cool. There's still some problems they have to iron out. But
Can Can I name
Yeah.
a couple of those?
No,
Just
we don't have to do that here.
Let him
Why? I
name
can't
them.
hear
Come on,
what?
come on, come on.
Name,
This is Festivus, and this is the part of airing of grievances.
the
and I've got a couple
airing of the grievances.
Got a couple to air here.
Yes.
I was playing with Nick and Julian last night, and I was getting terrible FPS, like completely god awful, and I was the only one that was having a problem. And I looked and I realized, my RAM's running at half the speed it should. Okay, I'll fix that. I fixed it, no change. Wake up this morning, check Twitter. It's because of an audio setting. So once I disabled the audio setting, I got 40 to 60 FPS more.
What was the audio? Like 3D audio? or
Binaural.
It's binaural audio, yeah. So as soon as
So-
I disabled that, it was fine.
I bought Tarkov earlier
Yeah,
this
you
year.
have it, yeah. It's on my
And
friends list.
it is so overwhelming. It is
not-
super
yeah.
difficult to
I've
get
never
into right
jumped
off the
into
get go.
it. Like, what the fuck
don't.
do you even do in this shit?
Yeah, don't.
A lot. You do a
Like,
lot.
Explain to me like I'm 5.
There is
Evan.
Okay.
so
Brody.
fucking much. So
Like-
fucking much. Like I don't even know half of it. I have not played enough to even understand what I'm doing. Like, and so my point to that before Evan goes
yeah.
into a little bit of an explanation here.
Yeah, go ahead.
DMZ in Call of Duty is like Tarkov
Maybe
light, right?
Tarkov.
Yeah,
very,
it is.
very light, yeah.
It is very, very simple. There's only a few different things you need to worry about, and I really enjoy DMZ. Like I have played almost more DMZ than I have multiplayer. Tarkov as a whole is just so fucking overwhelming for me. I love the concept. I love that there is that hardcore game for the people that get into it because it is very min-max. It's very, you have to think about this and that. But as I've said many a times, when I'm playing video games, I don't want to think that hard.
No,
and on
absolutely.
top of that, it was one of the first FPS I really played on mouse and keyboard. So then trying to add in all of that together, my mind just
that.
I didn't know
Fucking-
that.
Oh yeah, it was like oozing out of my fucking
Oh,
nose.
that's rough.
Oh, it was brutal. Like I played Tiny Tina's Wonderlands on PC, and that was the only other thing I had played as far as like first person shooter.
Yeah.
So then to add in like, oh well, you basically use the entire fucking keyboard, figure it out. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it very much is do this, figure it out. Evan.
Yeah.
To explain like Jeff's 5, there are quests that are given by traders. Traders have different sets of items. You accept those quests, you do those quests, and they can be, depending on the trader, they can be things of like gather this or find that or kill this many people on this map. And you do those, you level up, you get more loot. It's a looter shooter. So you go in with the gear you have, you try to kill scavs, which are AI, scav bosses, which are, AI bosses, and then actual players. You try to grab as much of their stuff as you can. So you get better stuff, you bring it out. If you die, you lose everything. And that's kind of like the loop of the game is that. You go in with some
You
gear,
lose everything.
try to get better gear.
If you die, you lose everything unless it's insured.
There's an insurance system, which if, say, for instance, somebody kills you and they don't take your stuff and nobody else grabs your stuff, you'll get it back like a certain amount of hours later.
Wow.
But if they take your stuff, it's gone. So like for instance, we played yesterday and I died, and since it's the first day of wipe, which whenever they do a big update like this, they wipe everybody's accounts, so you all start over from the very beginning. And I died, and since then I have not gotten any of my stuff back, which means that guy took literally everything. He took my hat, he took my clothes, he took
And
my
you lost
underwear.
money because of it.
Yeah, and you lose money because of it as well. So there's not like an end goal, I guess. Like there's no like
Not
end
yet.
game there's no end game content. Yeah, there's no story really to like. There is a bit of like there's lore, but there's no campaign basically. It's fun. It can be really fun. It can be really frustrating. More often than not, it sadly is frustrating more than fun. Like it's frustrating when you die to people like yesterday. Like I shot this dude, I don't know how many times, didn't even hurt him, it seemed like, and then he dropped me in a couple shots to my head, right? So like that's frustrating. But then you have the moments where you kill like an entire squad of 4 people, and now you have 4 people's loot to go through. And so it's kind of like the highs are very high, the lows are very lows, is probably the best way to put it. Like when you get sunk down and you're just kind of getting, after every raid, you're just losing money, just dying over and over, you're losing all your stuff. That sucks. But then when you kill a good couple of people with your buddies, it's the best feeling you can get, especially because in a game like that, you feel so confident in the sense
when you
of like,
achieve
okay,
in that game?
yeah, when you do good, you feel
holy
good.
shit.
You feel really good. It's like if I wiped a team in Overwatch, just completely just destroyed them from beginning to end, that's good in a sense. But it's not compared to like when you get a bunch of really good expensive loot in Tarkov and you make it out. Like that's a whole different level of accomplishment in a way.
Yeah.
I guess.
For example, I mean, we had a game where I went in with you, Evan, and Elliot, and you guys got fucking downed, and I had to sprint across the map and try to make it out alive. And
I was there for that. We were helping you get to the extract.
Yeah. It was the most like heart-pounding like moment I've had in gaming.
Brody was sweating
forever. Yeah, I mean that happens anyway, but absolutely. And like the whole Discord that was watching and stuff were freaking out. Like it was a really really cool moment. Super high highs, incredibly low lows.
The cool thing too
is
if you're playing with a Discord who understands the game, like because like you go into like groups of what, Evan? 5.
You can do 5 PMCs, 4 scavs.
Okay, so if you're like a PMC and you go in a group of 5, but you're already in Discord with like 10 people, let's say, and those 5 people are on the same page as you and they're watching, they know when to shut up, watch, and go, you need to go that way. Oh my god, he's gonna do it. And once if you extract, the entire Discord explodes, dude. It's insane.
It's a massive pat on the back.
Really
yeah,
cool.
It
is a cool game, and now that I'm like more into mouse and keyboard stuff, I would definitely like to try it again.
It's a moment creator, I would say too.
Yes,
and now's the best time to try it because everybody's equaled out, right? Everybody has nothing anymore, basically. Depending on
hint, play with us tonight, Brody.
Like as a great for instance, I tried to get my dad to play it. My dad hated it. My dad, from beginning to end, hated every bit of it because he didn't know. Like, you know, he's like, why do I have water? Why do I have energy? He's like, you're telling me I gotta kill people and drink and eat? He's like, what kind of person? He's like, what kind of asshole am I playing? He can't survive for 50 minutes without a bottle of water.
Bandage wounds, like the whole shit. You can get crippled where you can't like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to like stint and everything.
Vaseline. You gotta.
Well, that's that in itself is ironic, crazy. Where it tries to be a hardcore realistic shooter, but you can break your leg and rub a little bit of Vaseline on your hand, and now
it's
you can
a painkiller.
Makes no sense. Yeah,
that is my number 8. Yes.
Yeah.
Was there? This is a slight plug for the Discord, but he posted some sort of calendar. Was there a Tarkov calendar made?
Yeah, I posted a while ago. It was for charity from one of the Tarkov creators who did. He was a fireman before he started streaming full time. He did like a sexy fireman calendar for Pestily. Yeah, he did a fireman's calendar for I believe it's a charity in Australia, I think, called Starlight. Helps like sick kids. And he's been like, that's like his whole thing is he loves to stream Tarkov and he likes to do like 24, 36 hour streams and raise money for kids and stuff like that. I think he made $1 million last year on one of his streams.
Wouldn't be shocked.
To raise money for people. Yeah, he's a great guy, and the community itself is really lovely to a degree. Sometimes they can be kind of like, you know, it's a game where, for instance, Brody's working a lot. He can't play it all day, so he's gonna just naturally be behind in terms of stuff like that. So it's harder for Brody to catch up because Brody's naturally just through that not gonna have as good gear, and other people are, and then you're gonna kind of have to contend with that. So there's a bit of like, you know, that's a bit of a conversation in the community, but to not hold it up too long. My number 8 is Jeff's number 9, Overwatch.
Hey.
Yeah, following right after him, I figured I'd just wait until mine. But yeah, I mean, for a lot of the same reasons Jeff had, I just am not impressed. And while we did play it a lot when it came out, we played it a couple months after. And it is fun to play with friends still. Like I think that's always a decent time. And I personally liked the change of making it 5v5 instead of 6v6. That was for me, I feel like that flows way better to my own play style. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed a lot of the camaraderie around playing with buddies and stuff like that. Again, it reminds me of when Overwatch 1 originally came out.
Mm-hmm.
But to agree with Jeff on a lot of the points you made, I mean, it's not 2, it's 1.5. It's not, you know, yeah, we have no PvE, we have no story. The skin nonsense is just annoying to me, especially because I had like, I think 13,000 battle tokens or coins, whatever they were, Overwatch coins, like the natural stuff you got from duplicates. And now that's all gone. That doesn't translate into anything. And instead, because I got like the watch point pack, I got 2,000 Overwatch coins or whatever they are now, which doesn't even equal some of the stuff I'd like to get.
Mhm.
You know, it's like I couldn't
Some
even
skins are
get.
$25.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah. So
Suck my
so
dick.
2,000 coins doesn't even cover that. Like, I don't think
Mhm.
I could even get the second season pass with that, and you don't earn those naturally, which kind of sucks. Like,
I know.
yeah,
And the
it
season
just
pass,
yeah.
the free levels on the season pass suck ass.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there's no. It just doesn't. It's
gonna
like it's fun to
die.
play with friends, and yeah, the community aspect of playing with buddies and friends is nice. But it's like in terms of the longevity of it, it's like, yeah, I didn't like the new character. I thought they were pretty boring.
Mhm.
The only things I really enjoyed about it was the 5v5, the friend aspect, and just I mean, I like feeling good at the game again. I always felt like I was doing trash at Overwatch 1 towards the end of its lifespan because everybody just they play, it's the thing that it suffers from sadly is once people find a meta, that's all everybody does. So you can have 35 characters, but as soon as you make it so only 5 are realistically
Viable.
the best option, then you kind of ruin every other team comp you could do, which the thing that I liked is I would play open queue with 4 other people in the Discord, which you should join, by the way, if you're listening, if you're not already. Boom, plug.
Love
The nice thing
it.
about it was we would do open queue, and then you have okay, well, no, we're not going to do 1 tank, 2 healers, 2 DPS. We're going to do 3 tanks and 2 healers, or we're going to do 2 tanks and 2 DPS and 1 healer, and the DPS are going to have a bit more sustain. Like it almost felt like by removing a character, we had a bunch of different options we could use that you wouldn't normally be able to do in regular 6v6. I don't know, maybe it's just me and I'm just thinking about it like from a new perspective, but I loved doing that, and that's what we would do. We would have 2 people playing tank, and if we needed more tank, we'd switch to a tank, and it was fun. I liked it, but it's because of all the other issues it has. An issue that persisted for at least 2 months after was I would load up the game on Battle.net and it would say I have no friends, add friends. I would go to add a friend just to see, and then they would tell me that I already have that friend. So it's like I had to be invited to play. I couldn't even invite everybody else. So it's like a minor thing, but still. So yeah, that's my number 8. Is like liked it a lot, but it's not going to live very long. And I'm not going to really be super excited when the PvE comes out because that was never really my thing with it. Like it's going to be just like the co-op events. It's just going to be like not Junkertown, but like the Halloween event. It's going to be more or less that, just wave survival, or like you're just going to be killing enemies on the way there. I mean, they have to realize
that was always
these
boring too. Like when
like
Junkenstein's Revenge or shit like that.
It's not fun.
You just grab Torb.
The new Halloween one that they did this year was better. It was a step in the right direction. Where it's actually like you're going through a level and a little bit more than what.
Did. That was difficult. Like it was challenging. So like that was that's a step in the right direction.
That was all right, but it did lock you into like certain characters, which wasn't great. But I understand why.
But like I mean, I'm just worried the PvE is going to just be like, your Tracer running through the streets of London or whatever. But it's just going to be okay. Tracer's just running through London, just taking down Omnic bots, and it's like. They take 3 seconds to shoot me. I mean, there's no enemy variety in that sense, right? I mean, you have the normal guys and then you have the big guys. Not a whole lot of variety in that regard, right?
No,
there's no snipers, there's no grenadiers, whatever have you, But yeah, so that's my number 8.
Fair enough.
Just to add one point to that before we move on to my number. What are we on? 8? 8?
Yeah, 8.
Yeah,
8.
The matchmaking also sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same matchmaking from Overwatch 1.
In skill.
More or less.
Yeah.
Not in time.
No,
The time
definitely.
is greatly improved, but it's the...
That's just because there was more people playing.
I think what they did is they actually loosened up most of their requirements for their scaling.
Yeah.
For people that play you, because it's crazy the difference in some players at times.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. My number 8 is actually pretty new to me, so it's kind of the lines of Nick, I guess. But amongst all the F1 stuff I got this year for Christmas, I got a Backbone.
Hey!
And I got the PlayStation Edition. And this has fundamentally changed how I play my PlayStation, and I'm getting much more enjoyment out of it because I can play it remote. Sitting on the couch, doing whatever. Obviously, like it's not the craziest of resolution on my phone when I'm playing it.
Yeah.
But there's next to no lag, and I feel great Yeah, your fucking Steam decks or whatever. Yeah, you keep fucking running Dolphin Emulator.
No,
on that bitch. All right.
The backbone's fucking cool. The backbone's
Jeff.
really, really cool.
I shake on that. That was funny.
No,
That was good.
Yeah. The Backbone's dope. Like I feel like the PlayStation Edition, the only difference with it is really the buttons on it. Okay, are
It has a PlayStation logo on the back.
It's got a
It's
got a
cool.
PlayStation
It looks
logo on
sweet.
the back,
Nice.
which is cool. Because if I want to play a game or start a game, go through tutorial, I don't have to sit there and be like, oh yeah, that's right. There's A, B, X, Y on the normal Backbone controller. I don't have to fucking figure out what those are mapped to. It's a PlayStation controller, so I'm stoked about that. And I don't do a ton of mobile gaming, so I don't really give a shit. I did play Dead Cells Plus on this 3 Apple Arcade. I was having a blast with that, so that was good. Like it actually makes those games good, but those games are far and few between on mobile devices. So, but no, this is fantastic. Like this has elevated my experience with my PS5. They're cheap, like it's under 100 bones for this Backbone, pun intended.
Nice.
And the Backbone Plus subscription service or whatever, I don't have that. I don't really see the benefit in that. It just seems to be like a social platform, and then like you get some free games here and there, but they're not like the greatest of games. And I guess I could see them eventually turning into like an Apple Arcade, I guess. But I think they're still like kind of in its infancy. But this is great. The build quality is fantastic. The buttons are absolutely fantastic onto it. It feels fantastic. Like when I was playing, I played F1 on this thing, and there was
on your phone.
Yeah, there's little to no lag. Downstairs, I played remote play from a totally different location than my house. Felt great.
That's awesome.
Was good.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So I'm stoked about it. And I think it's a great addition to obviously what Sony's going to start doing, is getting heavier into the cloud piece, just like Microsoft is with xCloud. And I would say that if you even want to use xCloud, go get the normal Backbone and use that shit instead of the fucking adapter that goes on the Xbox controller, because this is so much more comfortable and better. But this is easily like probably one of the best like gaming accessories I've seen in a long freaking time.
I bought the Razer one, the Razer Kishi or whatever it is, and I like it. I think I would have preferred the Backbone, but I don't think Backbone was really that big at the time, and the Razer was really one of the first ones, so I got that one, and it works great. Like it is a very functional item, and it works really, really well for playing cloud games or whatever it may be, but definitely a very, very cool little piece to have so you can play things remote, and it's awesome, especially for playing through like some stuff that the latency isn't going to be a major issue.
That's
like
cool.
yeah,
I mean, I've got a 12 Pro Max in it, so like it's a big phone screen, but this is dope.
it's very cool.
This is great, and it feels rigid because, Brody, I used your Kishi, and I think the problem that they, in their design that they did with it, and I get why they did it, because the Kishi folds up better than this.
Yeah,
But this having a rigid spine to the Backbone,
a little bit more sturdy than
I think it's,
the Kishi. Yeah,
it's a lot more sturdier. It doesn't even, like, when your phone's in it, it doesn't even move nearly as much as even like a Switch. Joy-Con.
yeah. The Switch has more flex.
Yeah. So that's my number 8.
Nice. My number 8 is Neon White. So this is a game I just picked up recently, and have put quite a bit of time into it. I mean, considering I just bought it recently, I think I have probably 7 hours in it so far, maybe 6 maybe. But it's like a speedrunning type game where they throw these levels in front of you. I don't really give a fuck about the story and everything else going on because it's pretty corny and anime and over the top, and I just don't care. But the levels are fun. Like they're these puzzle type speedrunning levels where you have to get around as quickly as possible. For each tier of speed that you make it through or whatever, you get like a new hint, or it opens up, a new thing on each level. And I've found that gameplay loop quite addicting to the point where I'll sit there and replay levels until I get the platinum tier and get the gift that they hide in the levels and everything. Like, it's just a very interesting idea that I think they did exceptionally well. Like I said, I could have done without some of the story stuff. It really didn't need to be there, but I also kind of understand why it was there. And the most surprising thing about this game to me is when they first showed it off, I literally said, "What the fuck is this? I don't want to play it." And I kept hearing people talk about it, and especially near like the game or the end of the year where people are starting to talk about their games of the year, just like we are now. It kept coming up and kept coming up and kept coming up in different podcasts and different YouTube videos and everything else. And I was like, fine, I'm just gonna fucking buy it. Like, it was on sale. I think I got it for like, I don't know, $15 or something like that. And I love it. It's fantastic. It made number 8 on my list. I never would have imagined that earlier in this year, or even when I picked it up. I was like, I'll probably have fun with it, but I won't care. I've actually thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't sit here and recommend it to everyone because it is certainly not a game for everyone. But it is quite fun. It is, if you like that trying to beat a time and everything like that. I mean, it is right up your alley, but yeah, that's my number 8.
My number 7 is going to be short, sweet, and to the point. People finally getting fed up enough to actually bitch about bad games releasing.
I don't know about that. I'll disagree.
We've been doing it for 4 years, bud.
I've been doing
There's
it
more
since I was,
public outrage I've seen.
I've been doing it.
It's
and
gotten
shit now.
better, but it's like
I've been doing it for 22 years. I'm 22, by the way.
From what I'm noticing, I've seen more people be more vocal about it, and I enjoy that. I enjoy people being held accountable for the product that is coming out. If it's in a bad state, you're holding the companies accountable. What, bitch?
How do
I
you
love-
they're
I
holding
love-
them accountable? They're still buying it.
I love
And then they're
that
complaining
though.
about
is-
it.
You say I
Listen.
like. I don't disagree necessarily, but I
That's
do.
my number
like
7.
That,
I said it's gonna be a fast one. I'm not explaining.
No, I
myself.
know.
I've seen it.
No, I know.
I'm happy.
But I do like that that's your number 7. But most of the conversations I can recall related to this have been about like, man, you know what's not cool? Them throwing out death threats to the developers, which I don't think
like
is the
that
right direction.
shit.
I mean, that is a
It's
bridge
just-
too far, yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
like
that's
that
a bridge too
shit.
far. Like a bridge
All
too
right,
far, starring
what's
Tom
your number
Hanks.
7?
That's how bad it is. That was a deep
So
cut.
deep,
I've never
but-
even seen the movie.
My thing is that they really like. I think that's just like increased by such a minimal amount.
I
And I think
From,
it's
like,
really
last-
just
on
you.
Twitter, no, it's not
like-
just me, shitbird. I do bitch a lot.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, and it's
A lot.
It's important to complain. I like to kind of air those grievances again as it is Festivus.
Yeah.
But,
is
Where's the
Festivus.
poll?
It doesn't really. I don't have.
I have
in
one
here.
somewhere. No, I do.
But like, yeah, I guess I can see that to a degree. But I do also agree with Jeff of like, we are saying something, but at the same time, we're also like, yeah, this game's really, really shitty. But like, where's my credit card? You know, like that. Kind of
You hold my
where it's
tea.
like, yeah, like the game's bad, but I still bought it. And it's like, I can even attest to that sometimes where it's like, I bought F1 2022
Yeah.
and then I played it for a couple weeks and I was like, what is this shit? Because like all the AI was incredibly fast when they shouldn't have been. But it's like, that's
Oh my
not
God, the
something
mirrors
where
didn't
I'm...
even work.
No, they didn't.
Number
And it's
7
like,
was my
but
throwaway. Okay, guys.
that's not going to be something where I'm necessarily going to like want to
There are
return it.
no throwaways.
But it's certainly something where like, yeah, I can understand and whatnot. But
It was
my
a
number
fight at the
7,
Pistons game yesterday. I don't know.
shocker. My number 7 is the Dark and Darker playtest.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck
nice.
you! That was number
Okay.
6 for me.
Oh well, gotcha.
I
guess-
got another one.
Yeah.
Keep going.
You can keep
You gotta-
you can
you can
keep it
keep
at
it.
6. You don't have to change your list.
I
already
didn't change
changed it
mine.
in my
'cause-
head.
No, what?
Let's go.
What?
Keep it
Okay.
rolling, Evan. Dark and darker.
What the fuck
Anyway.
is happening?
Just to point out, like literally
That's fucking
2
weird.
numbers ago.
Ugh.
Literally 2 numbers ago, by the way. No, not even. Jeff said Overwatch 2 at 9, and I
was
said
just about
mine
to
at
bring that
8.
up. Thank
And
you,
then we
Evan.
talked about it twice, even though.
Yeah,
Just about to
yeah.
bring that
Even
up.
though we did say whatever.
Anyway,
All right, keep it
it's-
rolling.
So yeah, Dark and Darker is kind of actually like a Tarkov light-esque kind of thing as well, but it's set in like dungeons and it's medieval. So it's like you got mages, you have fighters with swords, and then you have like archers. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but you're mostly fighting AI that show up throughout the map in the form of like skeletons, spiders, like sort of like cleric, wizard, like skeleton things, like a whole bunch of different, medieval style of enemies. And then you also can occasionally encounter another team of 3 that are running different classes and stuff like that. But it's the same thing. You die, you lose everything there. You get your starting class if you die every time. So in Tarkov,
donkey, you die.
I know, right?
You come
Yeah.
back.
So like in Tarkov, if you run out of everything in your stash, you're done. You have nothing left. You have just your melee weapon and that's it. In Dark and Darker, if you die repeatedly, you don't lose everything. You just start back again with your original kit that your character would normally have. So it's a bit easier to get into. You're not really running out of anything. But I've played a bunch of it recently for the second playtest they did, which has been it's just fun. I don't know why, because I'm not a typical fan of like those types of games. I can't do them solo. I have to have a team, or I have to like have a group of friends. I can't play like a game like Tarkov as even my own friends have recommended for me to play Tarkov solo. I just can't bring myself to do it because I'm like, why would I wait 10 minutes to get into a game when I could just do anything else? Like I could just do whatever and enjoy it probably more. But Dark and Darker is something where you're pretty much basically inclined to play with a team. Like you can't, there's no real way to play it solo because there's no like solo groups like in a battle royale. But it's like the same thing as a battle royale, right? It gets smaller as you go. That's probably more what it is than anything else. It's more of a battle royale, but it's just fun. It's fun to get into it. It's really funny, especially because of the moments you can create with friends and stuff like that. Like Good Nick and I were playing the other day, and there are portals at the end of the session, and there are 2 types that pop up. There's a down portal, which brings you to a harder dungeon with worse enemies, less, basically just a harder difficulty. And there's an escape portal. And what they took away that I didn't know is before in the first playtest, each portal could hold your entire team. So Nick went down this portal and it closed after he went through it. And that was it. And the circle was consistently closing, so I had nothing. I couldn't run away. I was already taking damage from the circle closing. So the only thing I could do was go into the down portal and try and make it out that way, of which I died maybe 45 seconds after I went down there, which sucked because I lost everything I had. But it was a fun experience, and it's a great game. I can't wait for it to come out on Steam next year. I don't know if it's going to be making its way to console at all, but
Chivalry did though, right?
Completely different things.
I understand that, but I always thought Chivalry was only going to be like a PC game for the longest time.
I mean,
you know what I mean, with how you play shit. Huh?
I don't know how
Mountain Blade make it over to PC.
It did. I don't know how
consoles.
I don't know how it does.
That's got to be wild.
It's incredible. I don't know how
I don't know
how anybody could do it without a keyboard and mouse. Honestly,
DayZ went to console, and everyone's like, I watch people play DayZ, and I'm like, how are you doing that? Like,
Mountain Blade
not
2
fun.
will soon make its way.
Yeah,
into
2 is on. Yeah,
Okay.
2 is on there. Yeah, 1 didn't. But yeah, that's my
available.
number.
Bannerlord. Will be
Mountain Blade
available
1.
Sorry, Bannerlord.
Yeah, Bannerlord's 2.
Yeah, will be
I don't know how that'd
available
be
on
fun.
October 25th across PlayStation Xbox.
I think Mountain Blade 1 was Warlord or something like that. I know that's old. Like that's real old.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's my number. What were we at? 6, 7?
7?
7. Yeah. Dark and Darker is my 7. I've really enjoyed that.
Nice.
My number 7 is the PlayStation Plus revamp.
That didn't even make honorable mention for me.
Not
I
even-
basically
not
didn't even
mine either.
notice.
So I put it there because of a couple things. One, I think it's what Plus, Extra, and Premium. Premium, I think, is what gives you the PS1 games and stuff like that,
the classics, yeah.
and the PS3. That tier sucks right now. We talked about that in length on this podcast a couple times, where there's games on there that they could put on that require little to no negotiation, and for some reason they're just not on there. And it's kind of confusing. But the other stuff, I've actually really enjoyed what they've come out with and added. Like, I think they've had decent additions while they also still keep their monthly games or free monthly games great. Like, you get Jedi Fallen Order this month, for example, one of the new games, and those haven't went to like shitty editions. They've always been at least a little bit. They've been better than Xbox. There's been some dollar ones, but they've been better. which is great to see because obviously Xbox offered Game Pass, and then that monthly game piece has been pretty much hot trash for the last little bit. So they've kept to that stuff. And then the way that it all works, I think, is just easier. It looks nice. There's been subtle changes here and there that have changed in the store and how you go and get things. And they've mapped the UI a little bit better for it. I still don't think it's on the same level as Game Pass yet, but there's some features in there that are a lot better than on the Xbox, in terms of just being able to sort and organize shit and find stuff. But I've been pretty happy with what they've been doing, and I think the biggest thing I can see is I can definitely see them getting into, like I said, a lot more of the cloud stuff. And although Microsoft, yes, owns Azure and has that piece, I really do think Sony's actually going to come out and be pretty solid with that piece. And I think there'll be some pretty interesting acquisitions and games that come to the service in 2023. And I don't know, I give them kudos just for the fact that they kind of had something already, PlayStation Now, and it was terribly marketed. People, I mean, me and Brody talked about it so many times where it's just like people had no idea that it even existed. There was even a fucking thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think they've done a good job. Like even PlayStation Stars, like, yeah, I don't really give a shit about it too much, but it's cool. They have a little reward system in there. You build up points. I understand Xbox has something like that with Microsoft points, but you get more Microsoft points using Bing than you do your fucking Xbox. So I'm not going to count that as a great system right now. I just think overall they've refreshed their ecosystem, and I think it's better than ever. And I was really happy with it this year. I
like a lot of what they're doing there, but I find the tiers to be a little confusing, and that's from somebody who looks at it all the time, right? Like you have essential, you have essential, you have plus, you have extra, and then premium, right? And like you said, the premium tier is borderline worthless unless you're really into like PS1 games, which
and even they're not the greatest PS1 games.
They're not the greatest ones. Cool ones. Yeah. I mean, ultimately at this point, the one I see the most value in is the plus.
It's right. It's essential, extra, and premium. Extra.
Okay, I thought there was a fourth tier.
No, it's essential. Extra,
there's just premium. A 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why I find some of the marketing behind a lot of this to be pretty bad. Granted, I find Xbox's marketing to be awful as well, but at least for Game Pass, they have Game Pass and they have Game Pass Ultimate, which I think that's at least easier. But anyway, I find extra to be the only one that's really worth it for me personally. But even then, I haven't used it much, and granted, some of that is just because I haven't been playing my PlayStation much lately, but I don't know. Like I see what they're doing, and I see that they're on the right track, but I just don't think it's quite there, and I feel like it was released half baked. And that's not to take away from your number 7 or anything. That's just my personal opinion on it.
No,
but I definitely see.
I definitely think it's missing stuff. I think the thing I see though is at least with games and shit, and the games that are coming out, and the moves that they're making as a business right now, I think this year coming up will surprise a lot of people in terms of how much they can catch up to Game Pass in that regard.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, honestly. And the only reason I say that is they released some misleading marketing not too long ago where they said, "Oh, we have 50 million people on PS Plus." And then we're comparing it to Game Pass, and it's not apples to apples. That's fucking apples to goddamn dildos. Like it's not even the same fucking thing.
No, I don't mean numbers of people. I mean the quality of shit on the actual platform.
Fair enough. But like, I found that weird because they know damn well what they were doing when they put that information out, and then you got people on Twitter sounding off about this and that and this and that. And ultimately, their subscriptions really didn't change much. Granted, they shouldn't, right? If you have a PlayStation, you're probably going to have at least the essential tier if you want to play anything online, or get any of the free games. So I just find it weird to pump it up with information that is clearly not accurate or whatever. And I think they will see improvement. And I think, like you said, I think their content will improve. I mean, we were looking at the map for the next 3 months or whatever, and it was very bizarre. Like there was a bunch of games that were leaving, but none of them were anything that fucking mattered at all. Granted, Game Pass has plenty of those games too, right? But it was just I don't know. I'm not sold on the idea yet. I like the concept of it, and I love Game Pass and some of the games that it has brought. But clearly they don't have the money to dump into it that Microsoft had, where they can throw so much fucking money at it. And like we talked about it on the last episode, like there's no way they're making money on it still at this point. Eventually they should, but at this point, like they're more likely than not making any money on this shit. So ultimately, PlayStation has to keep some of their shit closer to their chest, but I also see why they aren't releasing games on the platform, day and date, like Xbox is. But I think there's merit in both of them, and I'm excited to see what Sony does with this. But I think off the get-go, I feel like it was pretty half-baked, and so was Game Pass at launch. Game Pass is great now, and I really enjoy it, but at launch, it fucking sucked too.
Yeah,
So
It'll be interesting to see too.
it's the nature of it.
Two stuff.
Yeah.
Games start going on that platform. I think they'll fucking do it.
Eventually, but
I think they'll do it a
how
lot
long is
sooner.
that going to take?
I think it'll do it a lot sooner than people think.
That's because they're releasing a $600 VR system.
Yeah, it's great. It's an ecosystem.
And I'm gonna be able to play that Horizon game.
Yeah,
because
but-
I played the first two.
Ugh.
No, I didn't.
To me,
They're making money
having
on the
a
headset.
600. Well, yeah, of
They've
course
already
they are.
announced that. And
But
they're making money on the
making-
console.
Selling a $600 VR headset that is tied solely to the PlayStation without modding it is not a great idea. When you have something like a Vive or a fucking
Max.
Meta or whatever the fuck it is, right? Where
Quest, yeah.
it can run on its own, or it can run connected to a PC. Like I don't see the value in that.
My God.
I think
I have like
have
an
a good year. That's all I'll end it with.
Yeah, fair enough.
They'll have a fantastic fucking 2023.
Can I say honorable
I'm
mention
sure they
real
will.
quick? I hate Nick's love of the Index. Just wanted to throw that out there before Brody goes.
$1,000 fucking VR headset.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would you get a PSVR 2 when you could buy an Index? Well, one, you can only
Shit
use it on a
is
PC.
wild.
asshole. Again,
You can only use the
and two,
PSVR 2 on the PlayStation.
That's why I
So
said the
that's-
meta, though, right? Like where
So
it is its
that's
own
equal.
thing, where it can
Yeah.
That's
function
equal.
without being connected to
Right.
a PC and connected to a PC. Like,
Yeah, Quest 2.
Facebook account. It's fucking annoying.
Yeah, Quest 2.
Which I don't
Yeah,
have.
all of it, but yes.
I
Well,
mean,
you make
those,
meta accounts now. They're different. They're separate.
Yeah, okay,
you
yeah,
can make-
they're separate. Yeah.
Yeah, they
You
are.
want Biggie Smalls in
That's
meta?
what Zuck. That's
Me
what
and Brody
Zuck
at the
said.
same
And I believe what Zuck said, guys. You guys are being way too crazy.
Yeah,
About this.
yeah.
Brody, go on.
Well,
Lizard
you guys are
man.
Zuck
critical
loves
on the
Sweet
Zuck.
Baby Rays. So
Listen, bro. Yeah, he may be a lizard
So I'm
man,
gonna
but he's the
fucking-
only.
I'm
Zuck
not
was a
gonna trust
part of the Wayfair PS5
Jesus.
No.
baby
No.
foreskin
Okay.
controller.
Anyway, my number 7 is Cult of the Lamb.
2023. Sorry, bro.
Jesus Christ. My number 7 is Cult of the Lamb. I really, really, really enjoyed this game. I had a fantastic time playing through it. I think the only reason it didn't move higher is it was pretty basic. It was pretty simple. It was pretty easy to get through. That being said, it was enjoyable, and it was a nice kind of turn my brain off, run a dungeon,
Yeah.
upgrade my Colt, and move on.
Yeah.
I think I finished with I think I finished with like 24 hours in it, I want to say. But I mean, I 100% of the game. I did everything in it you could. And I mean, Nick and I were playing it at the same time, going
Dude.
through it. Really had a great fucking time with it. And it's a great little dungeon crawling indie roguelike. Like, yeah, and roguelike is probably even a stretch because it is
Stretch,
very
but-
simplistic at that.
Key numbers, Brody.
But there was something about like just upgrading the Colt, and it had that like tycoon feel. Tycoon feel while also having some of the combat elements and stuff, and it was just a perfect mixture of everything that made a very solid game. It's not a fucking 10 out of 10 or anything like that, but it was an enjoyable experience that I would happily play through something similar in the future. It just didn't quite edge out, some of the things higher up on my list here.
So you only had 24 hours in that game?
It was I can't remember if it was 24 or if it was 32. There was, for whatever reason,
Either-
those two numbers are the ones that are sticking out in my head.
Well, as Matthew McConaughey in The Wolf of Wall Street said, those are rookie numbers.
Rookie
You gotta pump
numbers?
those numbers up.
I don't know
Yeah.
how you could possibly get more than what I had in it because I 100%
Yeah, I never
of the
played
fucking
it, so
thing.
yeah, I never played it, so I wouldn't even know.
I am
how,
looking
but-
right now. Give me.
I am
give me
as well.
Un momento.
Gotcha.
Um,
I mean, I never played it. It's not really one of my.
I
one of
had
my favorite games.
20.7 hours in it actually.
I had
Wow,
20,
okay, so less.
27.3.
And you didn't
Jesus
100%
Christ,
it,
you had.
Nick?
No, I did not 100%.
Oh, you know what?
so bad at
Apparently, there
games,
was a
dude.
few things I didn't do. I take that back. I'm a fucking liar.
Great source of news, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Cult of the Lamb, though, was one of those things where I saw it be announced. I was like, this looks like it'll be fun. Like, I'll play it here and there. And then I got
Yeah, I
it
can
because Brody was like, yo, Cult of the Lamb. I'm like, okay, cool. So another game that Brody fucking got me hooked on. But I started playing Cult of the Lamb. It was just one of those games where I was just like, it's just hook, line, and sinker.
I
I love the art style a lot. I love the art style, the music of Cult of the Lamb hooked me in as well. Just a lot of that, everything about that game is sweet to the point where when Devolver put out their plush, the Lammy plushes, I ordered one of those. I was like, I need one for my shelf because like I fucking love that goddamn game. It's phenomenal to have something for that game on my shelf with like the Doom guy or Gordon Freeman. Like it, like I was just like, it has to be there because this game was so fucking good, and I would love to see an expansion to it or a sequel or something Cult of the Lamb related. Even like if they went the Cuphead route and made a show, Cult of the Lamb, the show would be.
I think a
for
show
Adult
would
Swim.
be great.
On Adult Swim, that'd be insane.
It'd be awesome.
Fucking
I didn't do beat the 3 of the bosses without taking damage. I didn't catch one of every fish because I fished for like fucking an hour and didn't catch all of them. And sacrificed 10 followers. I thought I did that. And then something about no longer a servant, no less than a god. Whatever godhood achievement is. But
we can
Bioshock.
find that. Bioshock.
yeah.
Something related. Nick?
Yes.
Brody was
6.
Number 6. It's gonna be a twofer. So, Dark and Darker beta or alpha rather, right?
now he brings it up.
Having a
Oh, you
blast.
changed
with
it in your head.
I'm bringing this up really quick.
Bringing his other one up too.
Yes.
He's got a
So
book in
Dark
his
and
hands.
Darker is really fucking sick. Like it came out of nowhere, and the first playtest didn't really blow up, and then the second playtest come this time around during Christmas, fucking exploded on Twitch, exploded on Twitter. Everyone's talking about this fucking game. I would love to see them update a lot of the fighting mechanics. There was a lot of fucking people playing and talking about this. Like a lot of the big streamers were playing this game. The fighting mechanics need to be updated. The graphics would touched up. There's a lot of mechanics that need to be touched up, but the core is there, and I'm super stoked for this game to get released. The part 2 is this book by Bitmap Books. I'm Too Young to Die by Bitmap Books, which is it's the ultimate guide to FPS games from 1992 to the year 2002.
That is the most Nick fucking book I have ever seen in my entire life.
How
Well,
can what can I throw that won't leave a bruise, man? Like seriously?
Well, like if you like,
Banana.
you open
Or an
up
orange.
the book, it's just like
Banana, orange.
plenty of like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a
Orange.
dope ass like coffee table book of like just all
That
the
is
games
cool.
how they're made, and
It is cool.
I'm
Put it
very
next to
happy
the
to have
gamer
this.
sink.
That is not exactly like my forte by any means, but it's
Damn
it's
it,
a
Dub.
cool fucking piece of history, right?
So it came the coolest thing about that book, other than the book just being amazing, was it came in like a big box.
Oh, nice.
And
Yeah.
like it had like a bunch of like extras for you. It came with like a bookmark, which fell out of my fucking book, and the presentation of the book itself is really fucking sick. And the big box is on my shelf above my actual big boxes of Half-Life and Doom 2 and shit like that. So it fits in perfectly up there.
He got it, and he's like, this is pretty sweet. I think you'd actually really like something like this. And I was like, Nick, I was born in 2000. I was like, I have no idea for 8 years of that timeline.
Some of the best, some
what
of the
came out.
best FPS games.
Oh, I know. My dad brings it up all the time. He's like, you need to play. He doesn't say you need to play Quake, but he's like, Quake was the shit. And it's like, yeah, I
not wrong.
realized I believe him. It was the shit 24 years ago.
It still is.
It's not.
1v1 me Quake tonight.
If I beat you in Quake,
I'll kill myself.
Quake, you can. That's not what I wanted.
You know there is a very strong chance he will.
I know.
I'll be so fucking mad if Evan beats me in Quake.
I mean,
All right,
I need to get my fucking arthritis gloves out to beat
the
him.
kid is pretty fucking good at games. Okay,
I understand that.
I
warming
go
up
to
my
his
hands
big
right now.
head, but
That's mine.
Whoa! Hold on. There's a lot
Sorry.
of stuff up
Sorry.
in here.
Fucking brain black looking motherfucker.
If I
Jimmy
beat you
Neutron
in
looking ass.
if I
What?
beat you in Quake, you have to give me your BB
No.
behind you. I'm looking
Oh
at
my
it.
you
God.
don't even want the BB.
And so it shall
Exactly.
Yeah, he
that's how
actually
that's
likes
how
it. He
painful
likes
it
Death
is.
Stranding now.
So it
It's not there
shall
anymore.
be.
Hold on. Honorable mention for me. Honorable mention for me before I
When
go to
you
my actual
take Nick's
six.
BB,
It sounds like
That'll
you're
be
taking his dick.
that'll be for 23 because that's when I'll show up and take it. But no, honorable mention. I did finish Death Stranding after 75 years of trying to deliver that last part. Real rough, not an easy task. We actually recorded an episode while I was not while I was playing it, but like I stopped playing, left the game open. We did the episode, and Nick tells me in the middle of the episode it's 9:30. He's like, "Yeah, once you start playing, as soon as we stop here, which we were stopping at 9:30, he's like, once you stop here, or like once you start, once we're done, you'll finish it in like an hour." I was up until 12:45.
I
I
remember
did not-
that.
I did not finish the game until 1 in the
He
goddamn
was
morning.
pissed.
And yeah, because 2 hours of that was watching the
cutscenes?
cutscene
Uh-huh.
of running around some stupid ass beach as Norman Reedus just like, oh,
Did
I don't know
you
what to
see
do,
Jeff
just for a
Keighley?
cutscene to come. No, sadly I didn't. I only
I
saw
did. I
Conan
played.
O'Brien, which was the highlight of my gameplay experience, was seeing Conan O'Brien in some.
You
cave in the
said
middle of
you
nowhere.
liked Death Stranding.
I liked it, but you guys were talking it up the entire. Here's what brought it down for me was that you guys were touting it all the time as like one of the best games you'd ever played. Like great story. I finished it and I was like, I could have seen this coming from a mile away.
Bro, it's like
It
people
wasn't-
going to see
Why-
Avatar.
Why did you believe Nick when
I
he said
didn't-
it's the best game of all time? When
I never said it was the
he
best
has
game
like
of all time.
8 games that are the best of
Yeah,
all
are the
time.
best of all
And
time. I know.
That's just what came out this year.
Yeah.
Half-Life 2 is the
Sorry,
greatest game
that's
of all
just
time.
what came out in 1992.
Yeah. Sorry. Wasn't there for that.
I deserve that.
But no, like it was a good game, great ending.
That was good.
But I was not shocked by any of it. Like it wasn't a surprise. It was just like, yeah, fucking. I'm gonna talk about it now. I don't really care if there's spoilers. The second game's coming out soon. But like,
So is that your number 6?
that's my honorable mention. My number 6 actually is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Oh shit!
It makes the list because of how excited I was for the campaign. The
Okay.
multiplayer leaves a
Okay.
lot to be desired for me, but the campaign I liked. I liked the campaign. I liked
You were saying
world-
that you liked it a lot.
I like the world building. I like the story continuation. Obviously, love seeing Shepard and you know, obviously some of the characters from the original 2, like Soap and whatnot, making a return. Obviously, that's super exciting. The Spec Ops I personally enjoyed the co-op because I did play a little bit of it with you, Brody. I thought that was a lot of fun. I don't remember what missions we did, but we did play some of them together. That was a good bit of fun.
I think we tried all 3 and only completed 1
That sounds about right. That sounds pretty
with
accurate.
2 out of 3 stars.
I played DMZ with Connor and Julian. That was a ton of fun. I do like DMZ. I need to play more of it with Brody because Brody has been
Hell
telling me
yeah.
definitely of how much fun it is. I did try the raid with my dad and my uncle. That was also
It's
pretty
tough.
fun while challenging. Yeah, very challenging. A lot more than I had expected. Although I did have a little bit of a heads up from you when you told me. So
Yeah.
yeah, it makes my number 6 for sure. It was
Nice.
exciting and the story was I mean really fun. Definitely loved the mission where you're Soap walking through the town and you have nothing on you. Like that's definitely one I'm gonna come back and play a lot. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, I mean it was a good campaign and it didn't take forever, right? So yeah, that's my number 6. I think that deserves that spot.
Hell yeah. Hefe?
I don't know if I want to move this or not. But I guess I'll keep it. It's my only Switch. Well, no, not my only Switch game.
Sonic Frontiers.
You heard it. Oh my
That's his
God.
number 1. Come on now.
That's true.
Mario Party Superstars, my man. It is the perfect
Nice.
Mario
Did that come
Party.
out this year? Holy shit.
Oh,
I
you
didn't-
know
I
what?
entirely forgot about it.
I dropped the ball on
No,
that.
it didn't. It didn't come out this year. It would have.
Ooh.
Towards the
Pranked.
end of last year, but I've just played
Yeah,
it this
we'll
year,
count
so
it.
fuck
We'll
it.
count
Okay,
it.
that
It's
counts.
fine. It's fine.
That
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, it's like a return back to like an actually good Mario Party that people want to fucking play.
Oh, nice.
Boy, that's nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's
really.
like GameCube level Mario Party. It's
Oh
fantastic.
man,
Highly
64
fucking
Mario
recommend.
Party.
Jump
Right.
into
You got
that
'em
shit. Highly fucking
got 'em
recommend. They
started
brought back a bunch of games from all different console versions, all the fucking 22
sweet.
different Mario parties they've created, and they've remastered all of this. Obviously, them, and they're fantastic, and they're just great. They're just, I mean, it's a fucking just solid Mario Party game. Thank God.
That's sweet.
The universe is healing.
It's getting somewhere. Getting somewhere for sure.
Hell yeah. I haven't played that one yet, but I thought about picking it up just because it's a much better party game than the last Mario Party game they put out.
Yeah,
So
I've heard.
the last one was not great. I mean, it's still enough fun, right? But it is not nearly as good as the heyday of the Mario Party franchise. So definitely, I think eventually I'll end up picking it up. But so my number 6 is actually an update to a game. So Fortnite no build mode. Believe it
Ooh,
or
good
not.
call.
Honorable
Um,
mention for me. Can I add that with you? Yeah.
You sure
definitely.
can.
Honorable
So
mentions as well.
I have played a lot of this game with my kids.
I played a lot of these
Jeez,
games.
Lot of this games. I've played a lot of this game with my kids. I have spent a shitload of time in it, and I never got great at building. I got semi-decent at building on controller, but nothing like, I'm not putting any sort of like fucking Sky Fortress up or anything like that, right? Like, I'll put up
Yeah.
a wall, maybe, if I'm lucky.
I'm gonna
Okay?
give you a wall.
Right,
Cover.
like I will supply cover and a ramp to get up a mountain, and that is about it.
I can't even
Um,
build. So
But anyway, adding this mode to the game, I really feel like came at a perfect time where the hype around this game was dying down, and I think it revitalized it in a really real way, where I have no problem playing this fucking game now. Like, I actually enjoy playing this game. It's not,
If you were to
don't-
ask,
yeah.
hey, you want to play Fortnite?
I'd play.
Yeah, definitely.
play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
say
Brody,
yes.
can I just
like,
say too that like every time I think of Fortnite, so like I played with my niece now more
Yeah.
at their houses holiday weekend because I like the no build mode. I hate the building
Yeah.
stuff, and it took me
Yeah.
back when I was playing it. And you talking now, thinking about when you and I first jumped into Fortnite years ago, and we were like, "What do we fucking do in this game?"
oh wow.
Yeah, and we
How does
built a
this
fortress
work? We
on this
built a
house, and then this.
fortress, and then these people came and destroyed it, and then I was like, just hide in a bush, and we hid in a bush and won the fucking game.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like that was probably one of the most fun times I have ever had in a game, just because it was one of those weird things of trying to figure it out and figure out what the fuck happened, and then yeah, we won by hiding in a bush.
There you
But
go.
ultimately, I just think the no build mode is such a good thing to bring people like Evan and Nick and myself into
Yeah.
it, and Jeff even, right? Like, where I fucking despised playing the building
I do
or
too.
any game with building, and I refused to do it unless it was for transportation. And so ultimately, like, I never did exceptionally well, and now it's like, oh, you're on my level now, motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
It's
Yeah,
on
everybody's equal now because you can't.
Welcome
you
to
can't
the
build
Thunderdome,
a fucking,
bitch.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't build a tower to hide
exactly.
from. Yeah,
So ultimately, I think it was a great addition to the game. They continue to kill it with the skins, like fucking
Doomslayer?
Doomslayer's in there, fucking Geralt from
Geralt,
The
yeah.
Witcher. Yeah, sorry.
Geralt.
And-
Okay.
yeah, Geralt,
Okay.
Gerald,
Gerald.
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 Gerald of Rivia.
But they've really added a bunch of cool shit to the game, and it is a game that they continually support and do so much to. And I'm always impressed by this fucking game, even if it is one of those games that's kind of like nobody wants to say they like it. It's almost like
Yeah.
the
One of those.
Nickelback of
It is one of
games,
those.
right? Like
Yeah,
nobody wants
you're
to say they
absolutely
like Nickelback, but here we are.
Look at this photograph, motherfucker.
We all
That's
do,
right.
don't we?
That's
We
right.
Yeah.
all enjoy
Uh-huh.
Nickelback.
Obviously. But no, I think this definitely deserved number 6 on my list. I honestly contemplated even moving it a little higher, almost to that 5 slot,
Wow.
because I think it really, really just did a lot for the game, and I'm excited
Brody,
to see what they do next, right?
Oh,
Brody
yeah.
and I cemented our forever brothers in love bond of winning Fortnite game together.
Hell yeah, brother.
I think we won 2 or 3. Yeah, we won a
Yeah.
couple together. So
We were on
yeah,
a
no, I
streak
mean,
one night.
I'm always down to play it too. It's one of those things where, yeah, like you said, you know, you don't even think about it. But if you were to say, pop into the Discord, hey, I just got done with some DMZ. You want to play Fortnite? It's like, I could actually be about it now. Whereas if you had asked me that, 2 years ago, I would have been like, get out of this Discord. You need to go.
Yeah.
Don't come
Yeah.
back. But
And it's one of those nice games to jump into where it's like, I don't really care how well I
Yeah.
do in the game, right? Like,
there's
if
really
I'm earning
nothing-
XP and leveling up, I don't give a fuck. I don't give
and
a
even
shit.
then, like for
And
me,
even
right,
then,
it's- yeah, I'm just playing with my buddies. That's fun. You know, I don't need any sort of like, you did it, you won, or like, yeah, you leveled this thing up, or you got it. Like, I don't buy the battle pass. I load in and play with you guys. I do get kind of envious of some of the like skins you guys got, like the Iron Man skin and all that stuff. Like, I certainly want those because I mean, the ones I have are from like the year the game came out. But like,
Skins equal wins, bro.
whatever. Yeah. So apparently, that's why I spent like $75 the other day playing CS:GO. So let's not even.
We don't got to talk about that.
We don't
No,
have
that's a painful memory. Nick.
Yes. So
Numero cinco.
before you brought up really quick,
That's 5, by the way, if you didn't know that.
you
That's
and
5.
Jeff's funny moment in Fortnite. I remember when PUBG first came out, and it was like myself, Evan, Kyle, and one other person. Yeah, it was Matt or Julian, and it was that time, Evan, where we made it to the last circle, and you guys all got downed, and I went down the hill, and the guy couldn't find me.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
was
remember
stalking
this.
him below the hill like this, and he
Yeah,
was
I
just
remember that.
chucking nades down. And I was like, "What do I do?" They're like, "Well, because I swam around the entire fucking island. I abandoned them. They're like, you're gonna fucking die, you stupid piece of shit. Abandoned." Blah, blah, blah. And I made it to like
That
the
was just
last
a-
person.
We were just saying that to him. It wasn't related to the game. We were
Yeah,
just telling him that.
I died by a grenade. Basically, it became it was fucking hilarious. So
Wait,
my
that
number-
was the mention. You didn't even win. You just
No.
died.
we died. It was just funny to me. My number 5 is Ragnarok.
5.
Number 5.
Wow.
Okay.
Disappointing,
God,
especially because I know what your number 1 is.
We-
so like my
we
hatred
don't-
is steadily growing.
We don't have to talk about it too much because we're gonna
No,
obviously
we're
talk
doing
more
a
about
review,
God of War.
yeah.
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 Yeah, we're doing a review as well. But
We'll talk about it here in a bit because it's gonna come up on
It's
my
gonna
list here in
be-
a bit and
Yeah,
it's
I'm
on
sure.
Evan's list. So.
I will.
Yeah,
so I do have
definitely.
an honorable mention because I did figure this. I figured more people would have it. Leaks. So Duke Nukem 2001, the original build of Duke Nukem Forever leaked, and that was a huge thing for me. I got to actually see what the game could have been instead of what we have gotten.
I wish I had.
Yeah,
muscle
Typically,
like
we do
Brody so I
honorable
could break
mentions at
stuff.
the end, but that's fine. We
Yeah,
can do
we've
it now.
kind of screwed that up. Yeah, we've definitely screwed that up.
Just
What do you want me
whatever,
to
you know.
What do you want me to do? It's
Just
willy-nilly
do what you
here.
want. It's cool.
But yeah,
It's
that's
your
my
show.
honorable
We're just on
It's
it.
your show, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm fucking
You're giving Jeff fuel to hate me more than he already does. Don't do that, Brody.
no.
I
You're
don't
good. You're
hate
good.
you.
Go ahead.
That's
Carry
it.
on with the
I
leaks.
was excited about the
Just-
Duke Nukem leak.
Out of all of the leaks this year, Duke Nukem is the one you were excited for.
Dude,
not the
and Doom
GTA.
64.
Sucks.
Wait,
Doom
wait,
64.
wait, hold on. It's not even coming out.
No.
You can
No.
play
It's
it.
a leak of the like original build of the game
Yeah,
that
you
never
can play
released
it.
and was never going to see the light of day.
I don't even have words to describe how
It made me happy. It made me happy.
This is why your feet look dumb.
My
Because
feet are
you like
dumb.
things like this. They are. They are.
They're
I got
big.
you a
Hobbit feet.
I showed a random.
body up.
I showed a friend of mine that has never seen your feet a picture of your feet, and
Who'd you
she
show?
knew it. I showed Leanne,
Sabrina.
and
What?
I showed Leanne, and she knew it was you. She knew it was you.
I'm
No
not
other,
shocked Leanne knew it was me.
no other giveaway other than just the first thing she said when she saw the picture was, "Whose feet are those?" in all caps. She thought they were terrible.
They are
So
terrible.
that's
They're shit
your
kickers.
feet look stupid because you like things like this more than anything else you've seen throughout the year.
All right, keep it rolling. What's your number fucking 5?
My
Shithead?
number five is right behind me. The racing rig. Building that with my dad this year was a
Nice.
That is cool.
Hell yeah.
That is cool.
it was a blast to build. So much fun. We've kind of added some additions to it. So we have like a thing that can attach to the side for like a keyboard, so you don't have to get up and move every time if you have it on like your.
Gotta add
PC on the
hydraulics,
desk or
buddy.
whatever. Yeah, you want to give me $6,000 because that's
I
how
And then
don't.
when you flip, it fucking spins you over.
rolling
get
Shit
a-
whips you out.
You need to get a Red Bull seat on that.
I do need to get a Red Bull seat on it. This is from the Ferrari Academy, so it breaks down every couple of months.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a
Damn.
deep
All
cut.
right.
But it's been a ton of fun to play. I need to play more of it. I feel really bad about not really diving into it as much as I could have. But being able to play, like I said, of course, the F1 games, iRacing, and just kind of step into that world a little bit more, dip my toe into it, and just kind of see like, okay, so this is fun. Like this is enjoyable, and it's a great feeling when you can start doing well in something like that with a wheel and pedals. And we do have we have a manual like shifter as well, like an 8 shifter, and you know, it's just been so much fun. I remember,
like, can you get like an F1?
we have 2 different wheels. We have an F1 wheel attached to it right now.
Okay.
And then there's we have an extra like GT3 like normal wheel as well. I remember when we didn't get the GT3 wheel as soon as Dad would have wanted, so he was playing like truck simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, but
With
he was using the
F1
F1 wheel, the F1 wheel.
That's fucking awesome.
And I'm cracking up because I'm watching him drive. He's using the pedal shifters on the back of the wheel, and I'm like, yeah, that's realistic. That's how they drive, right? And yeah, so he enjoyed the hell out of it. I find it so much fun, and it was just
That's
a
cool.
blast to. It was a blast to build, even though I mean, for what it is, right? Pretty simple to do. It wasn't like a super complicated thing, but yeah, it's a ton of fun, and I want to play more of it. I want to get people to play it as well. I want to bring people over and have them play it.
I have every intention of building one like an old arcade system.
Oh, nice.
in
Oh,
my
yeah.
basement.
That'd be.
I want to
that'd be
build one
sweet.
out like that, and so you can play like Cruisin' USA and shit like that.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do.
That'd
So,
be cool.
That's on
Yeah,
my list. I have had a Raspberry Pi sitting my Amazon list for like
waiting.
3
Yeah.
years now.
Very
we
nice.
have a I don't know if we're gonna do it at the location for the new gaming lounge that Dad's building, but we do, I think, still have on pre-order or on order. It's just being waited. It's like we're waiting on it. We have another rig like this that's coming in that's from an F1 team, from the Alpine F1 team.
Oh damn!
That they built themselves. Yeah. So we're waiting on to see. I don't know if he canceled that order yet, but if we do also get that one, that'll be in a more public spot where people can play it and try it. And it's like, yeah, that's one of the things I want to get, like my friends, everybody to try. It's just like
Hell
it's
yeah.
a whole different thing, right? When you're actually doing something like that, you have force feedback that really shows you like where you're slipping, where you're gaining time. So yeah, no, number 5 is definitely building that on my list for sure.
Hell yeah!
I'll make my number 5 pretty quick because Evan's kind of mentioned it. But F122, when the game launched, had a bunch of issues and stuff like that, and probably it's just my glossy eyes because of my love of F1 right now.
Yeah,
but
I feel that.
I have a blast in the fucking game. I jump in from time to time, ripperoni in there, have a blast. It's a good time. Love it. Love the details of it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just great. It's a fantastic game.
yeah, I'll be
Hell
bringing
yeah.
mine up in a bit. Yeah, it's a little bit higher up on my list.
Number 5 for me is Modern Warfare 2. So this is probably the most hardcore I've gotten into a first-person shooter on PC, and has now. I mean, at this point, I have over 120 hours in on it. So I have definitely, I would say, somewhat gotten the hang of mouse and keyboard finally, which is great.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know why, because I'd say it's a good Call of Duty game, but at the end of the day, it's a Call of Duty game, right? Like I thoroughly enjoy it. I really, really am having a good time while playing it, but there's definitely issues, right? I mean, the campaign was a lot of fun to play through. I thought it was actually a very good Call of Duty campaign for what that's worth. I mean, at a certain point, it's almost like the Fast and Furious of FPSs. But
Yeah, wow. That's
I
a good comparison.
I think there's some certain level of not comfort, but familiarity with it. Of
You know what
like,
you're getting.
I know what I'm gonna get. Like I know this is gonna be over the top and corny and goofy and in some ways. But I have really enjoyed this game. I mean, having DMZ there and Warzone and the multiplayer, there's just a lot of different options as far as first person shooters go. And I think overall, I mean, it feels good. Like it feels good to play. There's issues with UI, there's issues with a lot of different things, but overall the actual gameplay of it feels fantastic, and I can't really ask for anything more. And it has been a great game for me to really invest time into to get used to that mouse and keyboard gameplay, which at this point I am now to the point where I don't think I could really go back to playing on controller for a first person shooter.
I'll do it.
I didn't think that was going to be something I would run into, and it has hit, and now I'm fucked forever because I'm just going to endlessly continue to upgrade GPUs until I die.
That's how they
And
get
other
you.
parts and everything else. Right now, I got a great CPU. I need a better GPU. So that's where I'm at in life.
Give me that one back. I need it for something.
Yeah. Oh, that one's getting passed down to the kid now because that's actually it's an honorable mention just because he hasn't fully invested into it yet. But while we're here, I guess an honorable mention: the kiddo got a PC for Christmas. I built him a PC from some remnant parts and got some new shit and everything, and so he is learning that. He has my RX 580 in it, so he's gonna get my 2060 when I upgrade to whatever I end up upgrading to.
Gone from my brother to you to now him. So I like the circle of life. I like the circle of life there.
Right.
Yeah.
So
keeps going around.
But yeah, COD is my number 5. I'm still enjoying the game a lot. I love that camo, slow drip of earning things constantly, that carrot on the end of the stick, if you will, of just constantly having one challenge to do or one gun to work on or whatever it may be. They do a really good job of constantly putting more content and more guns to work on and everything else. Like I said, since it released, a month ago, I have 120 hours in it. It is, at this point in time...
Two to almost the day. It was October.
Oh, yeah. It was October, right.
Yeah.
But it is my second most played game of the year at this point.
Wow.
Which is pretty impressive, and it's only been out for 2 months, whereas my number 1 played game of the year is... It's been out for a while. Yeah, it's Elden Ring.
That's not
it's not really a secret by any means. So it's going to surpass it here pretty quickly. It is also what is keeping me from finishing God of War Ragnarok because I'll have a buddy text me. I still haven't. I know. I have a buddy that'll text me, or a couple buddies that'll text me, every other night or whatever, and ask me, "Hey, you getting on?" And I hop on because I have a good time. The moments that are created in it, even if it's not, a 10 out of 10 game or anything. You have good moments. You have fun, a good time playing with friends and creating like your own fun in it, right? Like we've been playing DMZ, going around and getting other groups to join up with us, and then we're rolling around with a group of 6, and a few stragglers of like other teams that were like we wanted to join but we couldn't, and then we had some confusion the other night where 2 of the guys in the group that were supposed to join us but didn't join us because they couldn't because we were full. They decided they were going to kill us now, and so it was this chaotic mess of like us fucking these people up and like trying to figure out what was going on. And there's just a lot of fun to be had there. And even if it is, I always throw it in the category of like, oh, the same people buy Call of Duty that buy Madden every year and this and that. It's like, yes, this is true, but I can't fault this one. Like there's issues for sure, but I have had a great time and I don't regret this purchase by any means. And if Madden was this fucking fun all the time, maybe I'd buy Madden, but it's not. So
there you go. My dad was watching a stream on Christmas of some guy playing DMZ or Battle Royale. He watches a guy on Twitch named Breadman, and he just was running around the map, and he found some guy that was driving around who was just playing Christmas carols in his Jeep while he was driving around the map. So Breadman got in the car with him, drove around the map, would go to where they'd find people, and he'd say, "Hey, me and this guy down here are playing music. You want to join us?" And they wouldn't say anything. And he's like, "If you don't say anything, I'm coming up there and I'm killing you." And then Breadman would come up there. They'd try to kill him. He'd kill them because he's like a professional COD streamer. Like he does all sorts of tournaments and stuff. He'd kill them. He'd jump down in the car and he'd be like, "All right, let's go find the next guy." And then he'd have people joining him to sing along and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's like, I definitely would say like, I wish I got more into the multiplayer. It didn't grab me the way that 2019 did, but with how you describe it, it's like, yeah, I'd love to jump in and play it, especially because I do love the proximity chat. I think that's a really, when you hear proximity chat in COD, it really makes you worry because you're like, it's
fair enough. And it certainly happens exactly how you would imagine sometimes. Exactly, there's still shitheads, right? But
right. But then you have the moments like that really show up the biggest on social media, things like that. So that's yeah, that's a fun time. So yeah, I wish I had been able to place it up higher on my list, but the multiplayer just didn't grab me as much as I thought it would. Sadly,
That's entirely fair. And I
mostly due to
honestly,
the UI.
I think there's some bias for me just because of how much I've gotten into mouse and keyboard, right? Like there is some level of bias there where I'm like, oh, I'm hooked on this gameplay now,
Right.
tied in with the input, right? Rather than being a controller. So I think there's a little bit of bias there, but regardless, like, I mean, number 5's not bad, and it almost inched its way up a little bit higher, but the rest of the fucking list is, I mean, it's hard to beat, so.
Yeah, knockout stuff. Yeah.
Nick, number 4.
My number 4 is Vampire Survivors. Brody,
Hey.
this is new to me, but Brody said, "Hey, play this game." I said, "Okay, yeah, whatever," and he bought it for me. And then I started playing
And then
it.
you're obligated to play it.
I was obligated to play it at that point. I could
You are.
not stop playing this game.
It is higher up on my list, so
Vampire
we
Survivors
can definitely
is
touch on
phenomenal.
it here in a bit.
Yep. So let's keep it rolling.
My number 4, I just had it. It was there it is. My number 4, I don't believe it came out this year, but we really started playing it this year and really jumped into it. The Discord, Ready or Not.
Fun,
Hey, hell yeah! That's
Ready
a
or
fun
Not
game.
makes it pretty high up on my list. Just because I love the old school Rainbow Six Vegas stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love a bit more of the realism that Ready or Not adds to it, with a bit more scenarios in terms of like, yeah, you can have things from hostage situations to bomb defusals to active shooters. So you have to kind of play around
Mhm.
different situations. I'm excited for more of the levels they'll be adding. The modding community is going crazy with this game.
Oh
They
yeah.
already
they are.
started. Yeah, Steam Workshop's going crazy. I'm excited to see more of what the Ready or Not devs are very good. I would say probably some of my favorite devs in terms of level design. They really give this sense of tension and how in just a really messed up situation you're in. You know, going from a club that's filled with bodies that was like clearly an active shooter, public shooting situation, to invading like literally raiding some guy's house because he's a like child sex trafficker. Like it deals with touchy topics certainly,
Yeah.
but it's just that if anything puts you more into the boots of something like that, whereas you're not like in Rainbow Six, it's like it's terrorist hunt. Yeah, there's a bunch of bad guys around a casino, go take them out. But like
Yeah.
with this, it's hey, there's a cult in the outskirts of town in this mansion / villa. You got to take them out, and you got to do it at night. So now you're roaming these catacombs with night vision, avoiding, trying to take people down, and you can go from you can go a full like level. I think with just doing non-lethal stuff, like a beanbag shotgun, pepper spray, and just subduing criminals. But then if you're running like an active shooter situation, you want something lethal in the event that you need to take them down, and
Right.
or not in the event, but when you have to take them down. So yeah, it ranks really high up on my list. I've enjoyed it. It's so much fun playing with friends, especially because of the chaos that can happen.
Mhm.
Especially when playing with Hobbit feet over here. He's hilarious to watch try and he laughed like that, but he's not.
He did his goblin laugh.
Yeah, that's the Polly laugh from The Sopranos. But yeah, he's like playing with buddies, especially, just makes it so much more fun to get into, and it just adds to those hilarious moments of like, yeah, let's breach this. All right, you ready? Yeah, I got my shotgun racked, and it's like Nick has the beanbag shotgun pointed at a lock on a door. It's like, that's not gonna break open the door, buddy. That's gonna do nothing.
That would be an honorable mention for me as well. It definitely. I didn't
you
put
played
it
with
on
it,
there
yeah.
just because I didn't think it released this year. But I still don't think it did. I think it released in
don't
like
remember
early
if I bought it.
access, or I don't remember how it
I
went.
don't
But I
remember
just
when
bought it
I
this year.
bought it, yeah.
I would hope if-
released December 17th of last year.
Okay. I would hope if we played it now, I'd be a much more competent teammate. But running around playing that game with you guys was a great time. Like Nick
was.
running around shouting at people constantly, like, "Hey,
Get down to the
put your
ground.
hands
There's
up."
nobody over there.
On the ground. And you're like, what are you doing? He's just constantly running around. Like there was shenanigans
yelling.
left and right, or right off the get go, fucking Nick shooting somebody or something crazy going on. Like there was a lot of fun to be had there. Those like not really water cooler moments, but almost like a like inside jokes of some sort of just like some
definitely.
stupid shit that happened while we were playing it. It was a great experience. The levels are fun, like you said. It's a
well
very,
designed.
very fun game, but it is definitely one you want to play with friends. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, it's really a hard one to play by yourself. I've tried it a bunch of times. The AI is decent, but it just doesn't compare. It doesn't
No,
compare to
it's-
playing with 4 other people.
It's a
that know
social
what's up.
game. Yeah.
It's 100% a social game. But yeah, so that definitely makes it up for me.
Nice.
For number 4.
My number 4 is the Atari 50 anniversary celebration for Switch.
Oh.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Nice.
So I like old games.
Yeah.
And the Atari side of stuff, at first, to be honest with you, Atari over the last, like, I don't know, let's say 6-7 years has probably put out not the greatest stuff. And so when I saw this originally coming out, I thought it was just going to be another, like, because they did like a volume 1 and 2 classics that had come out like, I think 2 years ago. And it made no sense other than that they just wanted more money to have volume 1 and 2.
Yeah.
For the games. The cool thing with this is that it's a documentary that is interactive.
Right.
Which is
It's like a museum
it's
type deal, isn't it?
Super,
pretty cool.
It's like a museum, and there's like video clips of everything. There's interviews. Like it's a full blown interactive documentary, which is amazing. And then museum is a good point as well. And then the fact too that it also has like 90 plus games in it. It's just great. It's just a celebration of that company, and it's raw too. Like there's guys talking about like Atari was infamous for their employees like taking acid and stuff like that, like dropping acid.
Hell yeah, they were.
And they were just like super frank about it. It's hilarious. So it's just really cool. I thought it was like just an interesting, neat, unique product that I wasn't expecting from that company, and that really wasn't expecting at all for anyone to do, and it's just done so well.
Nice. My number 4 is God of War Ragnarok.
Wow.
Yeah, there it is.
I assume we're going to talk about it here shortly. Or not shortly, probably here in a bit.
In a bit, yeah.
But the only reason it's at number 4, and I'll say this before we move on here, it has not captured me like 2018 did. I think a big part of that is I think I'm coming out of the lull portion now, because I know there's a section in the middle that a lot of people call the lull, especially if you go after like a lot of side quests and things like that. If you mainline it, it's not as much of a lull, but there's definitely like I went after side quests and I've been doing side quests for like 8 hours, so and doing exploring and things like that, but.
As someone who I think I know what you're talking about, for me, I never find sections like those, because I'm fairly certain I know what you're talking about. I never find sections like those a lull, because I just know what they're doing in terms of setting something up greater for the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can understand where you're coming from, though. Certainly, as Nick kind of explained it to me when he played part 2 of The Last of Us, where as soon as he had to play as Abby, he was basically like, "I'm going to throw my controller at the screen." It's like I can understand the frustration, because we want to know what's happening for our main character and all that kind of stuff. And I was the same way for part 2, at least. For this, not so much. I was a bit more like, I see both of them as main characters, so it really just made me feel more.
I think I'm past where you're thinking. That's not.
Okay, well then maybe we can talk about it.
That was the start of the lull. I don't want to spoil anything, because it's still a relatively new game, right?
Yeah, it's hard to talk about while we're on there.
If you want to message me in between or something.
Yeah, we can talk about it later. But anyway, I think that's the start of the lull, and I didn't necessarily hate that part.
Sure.
It led into some shit afterwards where it's like, here's a big open area you can go explore and do a bunch of shit. Here's another big open area you can explore and do a bunch of shit, which is fine. Sure. And I enjoy that shit, but it also doesn't add that sense of urgency for me to get back to the game. Whereas
the entire game kind of fills you with a sense of urgency of like, this needs to happen as soon as okay.
Like the beginning had that urgency of like, you need to fucking check this out, you need to watch what's going on. I'm like, cool. And I can feel it ramping up because of where I am right now, where I can feel that turn to where it's like, oh, now story's gonna move along again. Pay attention, right? Like you need to get back and play this. And I'm right on that cusp. The other thing about it that didn't put it in my top for me personally is the fact that I wish it would have came out on PC, because the only reason for that is most of the time if I get time to play games during the day, I'm playing on PC because my kids are taking up the Xbox and PlayStation. So I can't play it during the day. I have to play it at night, and it's also slower in some sense to where if I'm tired, I'm not going to be able to stay awake, or I'll fall asleep. and I want to be able to really focus in on it. So it's hard for me to play it at night. If it was on PC, I think I would have already be done with it. I would have been done with it weeks ago. It's just kind of one of those things of, given the situation with what I have available to play at the time, that's what I have. So that's the only reason it's kind of shifted down a little bit for me. I enjoy what they're doing there. It's just not capturing me like 2018 did, and 2018 did the same thing where it didn't capture me at first either, and I had to come back to it later and really get invested into it. But like I said, I'm at like 20 something hours into the game. And so I'm definitely hitting that upswing, I think. So
to kind of relate, I never could play the original 2018 version until I got it on PC. Like I could it could never grasp me on PlayStation 4 or 5. I tried it on 5 when it was available and I still didn't get it. And then it came to PC and I was like, okay, cool. And then I finished it in 4 days. Like I didn't 100% everything. Let's make that clear. The only things I did was finish a couple side quests that I was kind of interested in. The story, obviously, and then I say 4 days. A day and a half of that was spent fighting the Queen Valkyrie.
Fair enough.
So finished the story pretty quickly. I mean, because I pretty much just mainlined it. I went right because I knew Ragnarok was coming out, not super soon, but I wanted to finish it. So, but I loved it. I fell in love with the story as soon as it was. I mean, the whole one camera thing, just as like a person who loves like film and movies,
it's
really
a very cool idea.
Satisfies that for me. I really like the one shot stuff. I love 1917 as an example, just as a one shot kind of movie. So but I can understand where you're coming from, especially because when I started playing Ragnarok, I felt that sense of urgency, and then they kind of pop open all this other stuff, and they're like, "Well, go do this, go do that," and the characters are constantly mentioning, remember, brother, you might not be able to do this when you get back. And it's like, am I going to or not? And
I find that level of Metroidvania style gameplay to be a little frustrating in a world like this, where it's like, I have to remember where the shit is to come back to it later. And I find that very obnoxious. And I get what they're doing and I understand it. I find it a little bit annoying in this, and I think I'm now to the point where I can access everything, if not almost everything. And we'll talk about that later. But it finally got to that point where it opens up, and so now I'm like, do I proceed with the story or do I go back and get a bunch of shit? And I went back and got some shit, and I'm like, I don't know, right? But regardless, it is a fucking phenomenal game. I really enjoy it. I just haven't had that urgency to sit down and play it as much as I had with 2018. And that's not a knock on that. I think it's very much more of the same game, but I don't find the story as compelling so far. I understand that a lot of it picks up in the last third, but
it does.
I haven't hit that point quite yet. I'm almost there. So
sure thing. So on to the podium places. Number 3. That's an F1.
I'd like to nominate this to my Reformed Rabbi Bill Clinton. This goes out to the fucking Bill Clinton kid. You're number 3, buddy.
That was one of my honorable mentions.
That's my number 3. That's my number 3, buddy. Bill Clinton kid. This kid has crashed several gaming events prior to this.
Really?
But he crashed what was it? A Blizzard gaming event where he went up there and started screaming "Free Hong Kong, Free Hong Kong."
Oh yeah.
That was that kid. So the same kid, but he weaseled his way into the Game Awards. He walked up there with the FromSoft guys and crashed it. Cheers to you, kid. That's my number 3. Let's keep it rolling.
It's absolutely crazy how that was able to happen.
He just walked up there, dick swinging. Kid went, I can do this. Just did it. That's life, buddy. You just got to do it.
And he did it.
That's what I'm saying.
He did do it.
That's what I'm saying. That's why he's my number 3. He's in my MySpace top 5, buddy.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, thankfully, moving on from that really lackluster third place from Nicholas.
That's awfully high. That is so high on your list.
I know. It's pretty.
You expected it not to be,
bro. Believe me, I think you might be able to guess. I mean, you might be able to you might be able to guess his first, but honestly, it might still disappoint you regardless. Which it certainly did for me. My third, which has been a long time coming. I think we've all, like, at least people who follow it knew it was going to happen. Both for, and this is a dual thing because it reaches to TV and games. The Last of Us series being announced for an actual date, and the part 1 coming to PC. Haven't really been, I guess, outwardly as excited to everybody as I normally would be when it comes to
We'll
something like
shit
this.
on you.
Usually, it's mostly due to avoiding public shaming. Mostly due to avoid that. No, but I am more excited for the part 1 PC release than I am the show. I've kind of brought up some of my already worries with the show so far. I'm not entirely convinced that they could show an entire. Not to say that they need to spend 4 seasons to rectify all the events of the first game, but I also think it's going to be kind of difficult to cover the entire first game in 9 episodes. That's just me. I'm just kind of a little bit. I think you might forget maybe some important stuff or whatever. I don't know. Especially because some of those episodes we've already determined are completely dedicated to a certain character that isn't very long in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of those things where it's so you have 9 episodes. The first is an hour and a half long. And then there's an episode later in the series that's going to be dedicated to a character named Bill, who literally shows up for one segment of the game. So for one episode to be dedicated to him,
that's stupid.
Kind of just worries me that it might not go the same way, especially because it seems like when they say it's dedicated to him, it's not going to involve our main characters.
You mean they might fuck this up?
I am kind of basically betting on them fucking it up, which really hurts because I want the show to be good, because I want people who don't play the games to enjoy the show or the story. But I'm also kind of convinced of hey,
I bet they split it in 2 seasons.
Well, they talked about doing that, but they said the second season is going to cover the second game. So it's so what do you do? So how long do you want the show to be at that point? You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm getting like Brody just did. Yeah, that's how I've been feeling. For part 1, very excited for it to come to PC. I'm excited for the faction stuff. Just Last of Us stuff in general, I guess, would be my third. I'm excited for the factions game to come to whatever it comes to. I don't know if it's just going to be PlayStation or PC. Probably will be a PlayStation thing to then PC later, maybe. Who knows? I've heard some rumors recently I've seen pop up that there's going to be a third game, which I fucking hope not. Just let the game be.
They won't.
No, they won't. And it's the saddest thing because it'd be so nice if you made something that if it was 2 and you left it and it was great, to just leave it there and never touch it again. You know what? The best fuck you that would have ever been was they do Avengers Endgame and they never make another Marvel movie again. Could you imagine? They left it at that.
Would have been great.
You got nothing. You got no way home. You got no way
business.
Home. Exactly. So that's kind of my thing. Is it's 2 was great, 1 was great. I know a lot of people have a bit more of a bone to pick with 2, and I understand why to a degree. For 3, at that point now, it feels less like we have to do it, more of we're going to do it because we know we can get some of that money. Whereas 2 almost felt like there was a bit of a we have to. But that could also just be from me being a bigger fan of feeling that.
I saw a lot of people that really were okay with the ending of 1. Just call it a day, right? There wasn't any need for it. But again,
right.
It is a huge IP. I understand why they're milking it to some extent. That being said, I am excited for the show because the gameplay is not my style of gameplay by any means. So to have a show that can lay out the story that so many people love for somebody who does not enjoy the gameplay, that's perfect.
Which now you kind of see my worry of the game does it so well, but then when they start to change things with the TV show, now you have people who are going to be because for instance, if we're watching the show and we're in the middle of the season and you say, yeah, I thought this was really dumb, why'd they do that? And I'm going to go, I don't know, bro, that doesn't happen in the game.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure there'll be plenty of that, but at the same time, I kind of hope it pushes me in the direction of actually playing the game again, or trying the game again, because I tried it and I just could not. I couldn't get into it, right? And
Sure.
maybe eventually I'll pick up the remaster or something like that where
And it might be like for me with God of War, where it's like, okay, I didn't really play it on PlayStation, but now it's on PC. Now maybe you want to give it a go with
Right.
all the remastered graphics and stuff. So I can understand that too. But yeah, like just The Last of Us news in general, I guess, is going to be my third. Mostly excited for the part 1 coming out next year, along with the factions game. The least excited things, like, or least things that I'm excited for, certainly is the show is my third in that regard of like excited because I want people to like it and see it, and I want to watch it myself and see what they do with this world and everything. And then last on the list is like, if they're making a third game, it's like, am I going to buy it? Am I going to play it? Yes. But at the same time, I'm going to be going into it like, if I finish the game, if I didn't like it, that's going to be my number one thing is you didn't have to do this. And now you've had 2 pretty successful games and a potentially successful TV show. And now you've in essence kind of ruined the story by the third game where you could have left it, right? So yeah, so that's my third. I'll leave it at that. Excited, not excited, but it just because of, I feel like as an obligation I gotta mention it at some point. But yeah, I'm mostly excited for part 1 coming on PC. That's a huge thing for me. I've been waiting for that since I was 13. So it's almost been, it will have been 10 years by the time the game comes to PC. So love feeling old. Anyway, Jeff.
My third would be, it's kind of interesting, but in
Sonic Frontiers.
No, God. And I have to jump. I mean, it's gonna make me probably want to jump back into it, but the Cyberpunk revitalization, I guess.
The Freedom DLC or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's just like, so we talked earlier about
Idris Elba.
Nick was talking about people bitching less about games, right? Which we can agree or disagree with. But what I think has also happened is that I think a lot of these games, like if you look at No Man's Sky, for example, multiple different games have been able to resurrect themselves from what people thought were dead on arrival or when they first launched. And I think the Cyberpunk one is pretty cool because that was definitely a scenario where the business side was just like, fucking release it. We want to make money. Release it. You know, they're obviously they're traded publicly on the Polish stock market. And so they've got obligations for shareholders and shit like that. But they just pushed it. And it was kind of cool to see, like, the devs kind of revive that shit and go back to it. And I know that obviously they're not CD Projekt Red is also not going to be handling a piece of this. They're going to be moving on to some of their other shit, apparently.
Yeah.
But it is cool to see it coming back, even before Idris Elba DLC.
But mainly Idris Elba.
Yeah, mainly Idris Elba.
All I'm excited for. Yeah.
But it's cool to see it come back, to get the bugs worked out. Like, and that was like considerable. I mean, that shit was not on PlayStation.
Yeah.
For months.
Yeah,
for an extended period of
for
time.
a long time.
Yeah.
It was like 8 months.
Yes.
8 or 9 months.
Damn.
So that was just kind of cool to see happen.
Wish I could return it.
So I like that. I like when that stuff happens and people can come back.
Yeah.
And often not, too. A lot of the best games grow from that. They bomb on release.
Yep.
They quickly pivot. They start fixing stuff, or they add new stuff to their features and mechanics and stuff like that, and then boom, get it out there.
I hate that it's that way, but yes, it does happen a lot that way, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean, No Man's Sky is the perfect example of it. And even then, I don't think it was entirely their fault. I think a lot of that was PlayStation propping it up to be more than what it was originally intended to be.
Yeah.
But that being said, they made true on their promise, and they fucking
further.
made it. Yeah, and went well past it, all for free, which is crazy. But I have thought about getting back into Cyberpunk many of times, and I think one of the things that keeps me from doing it is the fact that I own it on PlayStation, as I've talked about multiple times now, and I just don't really get to sit down and play PlayStation much anymore. So I've thought about buying it on PC a couple different times. I have not yet, but
No,
eventually, if I catch a good sale, I might. But
Yeah.
I love the world there and some of the things that they have done with the game. There's a lot of issues I do have with the game as well, but with Edge Runners coming out, it got me really excited about it. With them showing off some of the DLC stuff, it got me really excited about it. I think eventually I will come back and jump back into that game, whether it be playing through like the remote play on my PC or something. Like one way or another, I will end up playing this game again, and I would like to finish it, especially now that quite a bit of shit has been fixed. So
you could get it if you want to right now. It is 50% off on Steam.
Oh, we
because of the
bought
Steam
it.
Winter Sale.
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
Um,
I've seen it at $30. I want it to hit 20 before I buy it.
Brody's like
oh,
the extra
wow.
10 spot, baby.
Give me that fucking $10 back. Come on now.
I will say it is pretty funny when I see like, hey, Cyberpunk got an update, and it's like nobody knows what it is yet, and Nick's like, I just re-downloaded it, can't wait to load it up and play. And I'm like, yeah, Nick, they added a couple of different pieces of clothing. He's like, it could still be good though, and it's like, come on, buddy,
I get excited.
like you get way too excited for it. I mean, I played it, I beat it, and I was like, story's good. Like, yeah, story's definitely pretty decent, and it's kind of annoying though, where I play a game that's as beautiful as that, as exciting as that, with so many different avenues of play, and then I get some super cool badass revolver and I shoot some guy in the head, and then I have to do that 76 more times before he's dead. And
Yeah.
at that point, it's like, he's not wearing anything special, bro. Dude just got a neck and a spine like the rest of us. Like, how is this guy living?
I had some issues with some of the bullet
That's
sponginess of a lot of the
that's-
enemies as well.
If I could make it where it was, yeah, just like they're normal people, obviously for Cyberpunk, but like they're people still, and they die one shot headshot, I'd probably have way more fun with it. Like almost like a Red Dead sense, right? Where it's like you shoot somebody in the head, they're gone. It doesn't, in like even in multiplayer, it doesn't matter. They're dead, right? So it's like,
Right.
if you could do that, I'd probably enjoy it a ton more. I'd have a lot more to run around and try and fight people, I guess, if that was
And
the case.
I think based on the world, like it would make sense too, because you're constantly upgrading yourself, almost becoming like a cyber psycho type thing where
Yeah.
you should be able to take more shots than a normal fucking guy standing on the fucking corner of a street, right? Like I think they could justify it in the game, but I also feel like they tried to balance it out to where you can take so many hits, but I found that annoying because they're always in huge groups. And so when you go in to take out a large group of people, like you kind of have to play like a bitch where you're standing in the back and fucking popping them, because if you run in with a katana, you're going to fucking die. Like I found the gameplay to not be balanced out like I expected. And granted, I also haven't played it since like the first month it released. So maybe some of that has been fixed, but I don't know at this point.
As a great example, right, nothing in any of the content they showed, right, was and this is pretty explicit, but like nothing was shown as like a character getting shot in the head and like their skin or their skull like kind of deflecting it or whatever, right? So it's like you see these upgrades that people get in the trailers or story or whatever, and you're like, okay, yeah, they get like the mantis arms or like the gorilla fists and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, that's cool. But you having mantis arms or some sort of cool jacket shouldn't take away from me putting a bullet through your skull, no matter if it's so that's kind of the thing that always kind of dragged it down for me. It was like, it's cool, the story's cool, the cars handled like shit at the time when I played it. It wasn't really as detailed as a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 was. Like, I know a lot of people talked about like, well, there are random events, and it's like, yeah, there's like 4 out of a
and
city
then the
this
cops
big.
spawn directly behind you, and
Right, there were so many things that just I mean came to bother me, and I was just like, it's good, the story itself is pretty nice, but it's bogged down by all this other stuff.
yeah,
I mean, even when I fought, what's his name, Nick, you would know him, Adam, whatever, the big
Adam
robot,
Smasher.
Adam Smasher.
even fighting him at the end wasn't that difficult, which was
You
the
could
most
kill
annoying
him
thing.
through walls before the fight and all that. Yeah.
Which was the most annoying thing is I go to some random warehouse in the middle of I was gonna call it Cyberpunk City, but like you go like
New
through Night
Donk
City.
City.
Night City.
New
Yeah,
Donk.
Night City.
New Donk
so, like-
City.
So like you go to some random warehouse to fight like a crew of people, and they're somehow stronger than this guy, who's like a literal basic cyborg. Like only has his head left, and yet I was able to kill him faster than anybody in that group. So, like, yeah, it just
Yeah.
rough around the edges, left a sour taste in my mouth. I'll probably play it when the DLC comes out because I do like Idris Elba. Although I don't understand why he has to have an American voice in everything he does. The man's British. Let him talk
Yeah,
normal.
let him keep his British voice. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. For
Keep
real.
his
Keep that
British
accent, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Be cool to
It's a
them.
beautiful accent on that man. He's a beautiful man.
For real, dude.
Well,
Yeah,
Let him
yeah,
be him.
The Polish people don't like it unless he's speaking.
That's fair enough.
Let you know
Fair
that
enough.
right now.
They are a Polish dev, so
Yeah, that's true. Brody.
so my number 3 is Vampire Survivors. This is kind of like Neon White in that same category. I think I bought them at the same time actually, where I passed on it for a very, very long time. Because I saw it come up in the Steam store quite a few times, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a pixel art, whatever the fuck, I don't care. I again started listening to people talk about all of their Game of the Year lists, and I eventually was like, fine, it's $5, I'll pick it up. I have been so fucking hooked on this game. I have over 20 something hours in it in a 2-week span, I think.
Dude,
I've been
that's
playing it
good.
predominantly on my Steam Deck, and it is a simple game where it is top down. All you're doing is leveling up, and you can buy weapons or these like abilities essentially that can evolve with the weapons, and you have to figure out things as you go. One thing that's really impressive about it is at first you feel like a piece of shit. Like you cannot make it very far.
Super slow, yeah.
It's very, very slow to begin with, and then you start figuring things out. You start figuring out how to evolve guns, or weapons. You start figuring out how to unlock more things and progress further and further. And that drip feed of becoming more and more powerful is crazy. Like, all the game is you literally just walk around and it auto does everything for you. It sounds like the most boring thing in the world, but it is so incredibly addicting that I can't even. When you explain it to someone, you look like a fucking crazy person of being like, oh, this game is so cool. Like, all you do is walk around. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm out. No, it is really this impressive, like, build out your character, survive the world, and like there's some level of strategy behind it, basically.
Yeah.
I was just playing a level before we started, and I made it to, so the cutoff on most of the levels is half hour. I made it to 29 minutes and like 16 seconds and got overrun at the end. It was crazy. But for probably the first 5 hours of it, I couldn't understand why I couldn't make it further. And so then you earn more gold, you upgrade things and this and that, and unlock more characters, and you can progress quickly. And it's just this addicting loop that I have never really had in a game of this nature that has really grabbed me this much and this quickly. Even when I sucked at the game and didn't have any upgrades or anything, like I was still hooked on this gameplay loop of making it that much further. I remember making it to like 10 minutes and feeling like a god, and then you make it, to 20 minutes the next time and you feel even better, and then the next one you make it to only like 10 again because you fucked up and chose the wrong shit, and you're like, god damn it, I'm an idiot, what happened?
It was a misinput.
Yeah, right. Like I clicked the wrong thing. My bad. But I at this point like have a lot of shit figured out in it, and I can feel like I can progress pretty good. And like this last mission, I literally felt like a god. Like I could stand still and kill everything around me.
Yeah.
It was just it's such a really, really cool game. It's a $5 fucking game, and it has been one of my most enjoyable experiences of the year. So I honestly cannot recommend this game enough. I for whether you enjoy games or not, like I feel like this is a game you could still get into because it is like a step beyond Cookie Clicker, right? Like of that. It's barely a game, but also it's the most addicting thing you'll probably do this year outside of maybe crack. but very, very fucking great game.
Yes.
Enjoyed it a lot. And they just released some DLC that I haven't even really made it to because I'm still progressing my account. So
So for my number 2, this goes out to the Stalker devs. To see them continue work on Stalker 2, despite what's going on in the Ukraine right now, is really amazing, to say the very least. They released a trailer for Stalker 2 today, and it's just awesome watching those guys continue forward and working on this game literally in a bomb shelter for the most part. I mean, on Christmas, there was a video of them working on the game with a harpist in the shelter, and it was just heartwarming to watch them continue on and like keep on keeping on, even though there has been some severe hits to the morale with what's happening in their country and some of their developers going on the front lines and losing their lives, unfortunately. But the team is still going strong, and we are going to still be getting this game. But that's a huge moment to me in gaming in general to see this team push forward. So my number 2 goes to the Stalker devs.
fair enough. They just recently announced that was it a writer that died?
Programmer, I thought.
Programmer, yeah. Yeah, I
The
mean,
front lines, yep.
Yeah, hats off to that team. I can't even imagine how that has been, and to continue working on it because it is a it's
2023. They're saying it's coming out in 2023 still.
It's absolutely a project of love, and with everything going on, they're continuing to work on it, and hats off to that whole team for sure.
If you haven't seen the video of them working on Stalker 2 on Christmas in a shelter while a harpist plays music for them to keep them calm to drown out the air raid sirens, I highly recommend you watch that. It's very heartwarming.
And like, I'm just skipping through the trailer right now because they did release, like you said, a trailer today, and I mean, it just looks fantastic. Like,
dude,
it looks beautiful. And
Stalker
and
2
as
is going to
someone
be insane.
who has kind of an honorable mention, I did play this kind of
Anomaly, right?
this year. Anomaly, which is a free download you can do where you can play. It kind of combines all the story of the 3 Stalker games, I think, into like a big open world, which you can mod it out, make it look, cool and all that stuff. And I played that, and I was like, this is really exciting. And I just wanted to play it just to kind of get an idea of how Stalker 2 is going to be, which I mean, I know they're going to probably be completely different to a degree. But wow, like, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Metro series, which is just a linear Stalker. It's just mission to mission. So to kind of get into this and kind of be able to go around Chernobyl and like that area, the zone technically, and like you have so many other crazy things like with anomalies and stuff like that, which that doesn't really happen with Metro. Metro's pretty much it's people or it's monsters, whereas you kind of got in Stalker, it's people, monsters, which are terrifying, and then you have like anomalies, things that just don't that defy explanation. So I'm very excited to jump into that, and yeah, for them to be still working on it the way they're working on it and saying, nah, it's coming out in 2023 on Game Pass, no less too. So that's got to be something. Yeah, I mean, hats off to them. That's tough work.
It will be the first game that comes to Game Pass that I'm still going to buy, just because I have so much respect for that team.
Absolutely.
I'd be more than happy to throw my $70 or $60 or whatever the fuck it ends up being.
Whatever it's going to be. Yeah.
I know everyone's going to be like, oh, of course, Nick. There is a Stalker 2 Collector's Edition.
Oh, of course, Nick. It's Nick.
Yeah.
Always wanting the collector's. Oh.
It is sold out. I will never own it. Well, keep rolling.
I'm just, so impressed with that team. And like, I honestly want to go back and play the first couple Stalkers, but also it's not really my type of game even at that point. But like I said, just with everything going on, I would love to support the team in any way I can. So
absolutely.
I mean, I'll buy it, and play it, and even if it is on Game Pass. So shout out to them. Yeah, good fucking call there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my number 2 is F1 22.
Nice.
Hey.
This game came out July 1st of this year. As of current, like right now, I have 207 hours in the game. I've already gotten more than half of the achievements available. Most of the ones that are left are related to multiplayer stuff. and just other like things I just haven't wanted to do yet. But like, oh my god, what a game! Like as Jeff said earlier, had some problems at launch, but as of now, I mean, I've gone through 3 different my team campaigns of varying degrees of difficulty and ability. I've had a blast, as Nick knows. I will play it for hours in the Discord. I will do anything in that game. I'll do short races. I was playing the other day while I was waiting to play something else with the rest of the guys. I just was like, you know what? I'm bored. I'm going to do an F2 race in Spa, and I'm going to start at the back of the grid as Logan Sargent, and I'm going to make my way up to the front. And I consistently, every time I would restart, I would restart and replay it. I would make it to the front every time on like 85, 90 difficulty. So that's reaching expert master level. And I would just, I love it. I mean, I love racing. I've loved F1 since I saw Rush, which came out in like 2013. So as a kid, and to be able to go and play it with the new cars and the updated, obvious drivers in each team and stuff like that, it's just been a blast. And yeah, I mean, there's something that I just enjoy so much about it. I mean, just beating online players, beating really smart AI, like it doesn't matter. I mean, the fact that they added in this year, they added in driver or AI mistakes. So if you force pressure onto one of the AI drivers, you can watch them lock their tires up and kind of go past the breaking point or whatever. So makes you feel even better when you're especially like racing and battling with the AI if you got them at a high difficulty. It's just a blast. I love it, and I will continue to play it. I can't wait to play it for when my buddy Elliot gets back from Korea, so we can do a my team co-op campaign. We did that last year where we were racing in 2021. We were racing as Aston Martin, and our entire goal was like, okay, this car sucks, this team sucks. We just got to do good enough to get hired to another team. So I can't wait to do that again with him and just play through it and go crazy. I'd love to play another one with him where we can actually not be paired to the same team constantly, but where we can start out as the same team, get hired to different teams, and kind of become rivals over a 10 season long campaign. That's just a huge, exciting thing for me. It blows every other sports game out of the water. Like FIFA's good. I played that this year. I played the Maddens. I played 2K, but just something with that level of fun to me just doesn't exist until you get me to F1. And I'm like, yeah, man, like I want to race everybody in that game. I want to do a spawn camp race day where you got 20 people racing. I mean, it'd be terrible. No, it'd be sweet for some people. It'd be terrible for others because I guarantee some people wouldn't get off the starting line. But that's what adds the fun of it. But yeah, no, that's my top. That's my number 2. That takes a second place for me this year.
Hell yeah.
Sweet. My number 2 would be the GTA 6 leaks, and just how that all came to be.
Okay.
Nice.
Fair enough.
Nice.
One, I think even the leaks, it looked like a good game, even though it's like rough. I'm stoked for it if that's all true. I think it'd be really cool having just a different character setup, and for it to be set in the location that it's going to be at is going to be awesome. And
Miami, right?
I also just loved how it came to be, and the little fucking hacker that got
yeah, that was a wild
smacked on big time, and I thought it was just a unique moment for the year. I thought it was just like, holy shit, what?
We finally got confirmation almost.
I mean, it doesn't really.
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was being
they more or less
built.
did.
It just like for it to come out like that was just funny.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they said they were working on the next entry in the Grand Theft Auto series. They never specifically said a title. That was before it got leaked. I don't remember if they said a specific title after, but yeah, I mean, that was interesting. That was a super interesting moment. I mean, for Rockstar, I mean, I don't really, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but that doesn't really happen to them where they get a leaked
not really, no.
thing
Not
like from an outside source. Yeah, no, that's a completely different thing. But yeah, no, that's a good number 2 pick. I didn't even think about it until you brought it up.
I thought about it when Nick mentioned his leaks earlier.
Oh, okay.
So my number 2 is actually the Steam Deck.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love this fucking little handheld PC. There's so much you can do with it. The subreddit while it can be a little fucking toxic at times, which is fucking weird, but there's a
They're
lot of good
teenagers.
information in there. Yeah, right. Fuck those guys.
They're like 1,000 nicks. Like, I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah. There's a lot of good information there. They're very good about like passing on like, oh, hey, you know, you can do this, you can do this. Like, here's how you do this. There's just so much cool stuff that this thing can do. I mean, it is a Linux-based PC. You can also even set it up to dual boot Windows if you want to.
Yep.
I have spent so much time just fucking around with this thing, setting it up to do anything and everything that I wanted to do at this point. There's a few odds and ends things that I'd like to venture back into at some point. Part of my Christmas gift this year, or part of my stocking, was this little fold-up keyboard with a trackpad on it,
You got Excel
just for
running on that
travel.
yet?
What's that?
You got Excel running on that yet?
Yeah, not yet. But
Spreadsheets.
the whole idea behind that is
Sweet.
having something to actually take with me, because it's kind of a pain in the ass when you actually set everything up, because you have to have it running through some sort of a dock or whatever, right? So plugging in a mouse, plugging in a keyboard, like that'll be nice just for quick and dirty things. Like if I need to set up or change, change, one little setting or go into desktop mode for whatever reason. Regardless, I mean, a lot of my Christmas stuff actually centered around this. I got the God of War skin for it. I got the
Yeah, I
little
saw that.
carbon trackpads for the back. I got carbon trackpads for the front, some joystick covers. Like I'm just so invested in this little console PC thing that I thoroughly enjoy it, right? Like, not every game is perfect on it. I don't care to play FPS games on it. I haven't quite figured out my settings for that yet, but I one of the first things I did was set it up to where I can play xCloud games on there, so I can go in and I can play anything from Game Pass, and I think Steam has knocked it out of the park. They continually keep putting out these updates for it. It's just a fucking fantastic little system, and easily the best handheld system to ever release. Like, in my mind, there is no fucking
It's miles
no
ahead.
question about it.
What about the fucking?
What?
It's funny. I had a good joke and it left my mind. It's whatever the little flip Nintendo thing was. Not
The
DS,
Game
the
Boy
one before
SP?
it.
DS?
Game Boy. Yes, thank you.
Game Boy
Sorry. My
Advance
joke
SP?
is now ruined. But
It's
yes,
fucking
that's
dead
what
now.
I
It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. You ready?
just like that joke was.
Yeah. The best part about it is you can do that on the Steam Deck if you wanted to. I'm just saying.
Not getting one. Stop trying.
You are
Yeah.
getting
It
You
is
and Nick both.
honestly. I bought the highest tier, and I kind of wish I would have went lower and just upgraded the SD card myself, or not the SD, but the SD.
SSD.
SSD, but I didn't, and I went for the higher one, and I'm okay with it. I love it for what it is. You can put a micro SD card in there and really do whatever you want with it at that point, right? But definitely a purchase that I was concerned about, because it was something I bought drunk after doing a podcast with Nick. And I was a little concerned that I was going to get it and not use it. And it is now something that has made my Nintendo Switch all but obsolete at this point. It's just, I don't give a fuck about the Nintendo Switch anymore. Except for, some of the first party games, I guess. But ultimately, this thing is, and even then, honestly, this can actually kill that too.
Yeah,
if you set it
emulate
up.
it right, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you can do fucking everything on this console or PC or whatever you want to call it, but Valve and Steam knocked this entirely out of the park. I am so impressed with this.
Number one goes to Steam Deck. It goes to the Steam Deck.
Hang on, I have a question here.
I think
And I know where you're going with this. I have not had as much time to actually.
No, that's
what's
not
up
my
with it.
question.
What's
My
up?
question is, how did Bill Clinton kid make it into your number 3, and you have not mentioned Elden Ring one fucking time this entire episode?
That's too obvious. That's too obvious.
What?
But is it your top 10? It's not about fucking.
It's an honorable mention. Honorable mention. Anyways,
What?
He
Anyways.
voted for it. He voted for it for Game of the Year, but he puts God of War.
I'm
on his
interrupted
top 10.
every turn of the way.
You should be for things like this. You're so
Yeah.
The Steam
you're as
Deck
ugly
for
and as
me,
stupid as your
the
hair,
Steam
bro.
Deck
That's
for
what I'm gonna say.
me. My hair is fine. By the
It's
way,
not. It's gone. It's
fine.
about to be Brody.
Vampire Survivors made your list and Elden Ring didn't.
Yes.
Not
Anyways,
to knock on Vampire.
Steam Deck is my number one. All of Brody's points are absolutely 100%. This thing is truly fucking insane.
This man agrees with
its
you.
capabilities.
Is that upsetting to you?
Yeah, I think it
I
upsets
was already
Brody a bit.
shaking my head still about the fact he didn't put Elden Ring on
That's
here.
what I mean.
Even though I'm pretty sure he had a circle jerk all by himself on the fucking case of that game.
because he has to, like, by obligation, he has to gluck Gabe Newell every single year for some reason or another.
Anyway, sorry, Nick. I did not mean
No,
to
you're good.
interrupt.
My opinions
You're
aren't
good.
valid on any show. It's fine.
No, they're not. But I love you anyway.
So what Brody said about this piece of hardware is correct. This thing could do anything and everything. It is miles ahead of its competition. So much so that Valve is already working not only on every update imaginable to this thing, but they're already working on the second iteration of the Steam Deck. This is amazing. I've played a good amount of games on this. I've not had too much time to actually tinker with it the way Brody has, but playing games like Max Payne 3 on this thing at full settings, it runs at 60 frames per second. Stop talking shit, you two, in the fucking DMs, or I'm gonna fucking strangle you both.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Not you. Those two. I can watch those two type on their fucking keyboards. Look up the sticker.
Eric was calling me. I had to tell him I
was
was
he?
recording.
Was he?
He literally was calling me. Yeah,
I
Fuck
was
Eric.
talking mad shit.
Yeah.
yeah, he was talking. No, not
Anyways,
to take away.
I
He was
fucking-
talking mad shit, and I was responding with mad shit.
Thank
but
you, Gabe in the wide, for the Steam
told
Deck.
you.
Thank
Told
you.
dog.
Thank you. I can't wait to see the Deckard. I can't wait to see the Steam Deck 2, and I cannot wait to see Neon fucking Prime. I am very excited for all that. Thank you,
Probably
Gabe
see
in the
Steam
wide.
Deck 2 in a week.
I bet Gabe really loves that vacuum suck you're giving him.
I fucking hope so.
Ugh.
About as much as Neil Druckmann likes it from you, bitch boy. Keep
What?
going.
Okay, all
Damn.
right. Burns. All right. Be cool.
You
Be
guys
cool. Be
quit
cool. That's
sucking
kind of.
off other guys, okay?
Yeah,
All right,
sorry.
everyone dogpile Jeff now. This fucking crazy
no.
Canuck.
We got to wrap this up somehow. My number one is God of War Ragnarok. Not gonna lie, kind of a sleeper hit in the sense of I didn't expect to rate it this high this year. I was thinking some other games would have taken, like, some other game would have taken my number one spot, but thinking on it once you asked us to be here, I really couldn't find anything that reached that level of. I loved everything from beginning to end. I loved the story. The gameplay has been massively improved from the first game. I went back and played 2018 just to kind of get an idea of how much it had been improved. There's a bit more. It's way more fluid in terms of movement. Whereas in 2018, there's a lot of, you go into an animation to climb up something, and then once you get up there, there's an immediate stoppage of its transitioning to you being able to move like normal again. Whereas in Ragnarok, it's pretty fluid. Like, you can just get up. Like, I mean, now in Ragnarok, you can climb up something, hit right trigger, and immediately swing into an attack. Whereas that obviously doesn't exist in 2018. I love the level of customizability in terms of your weapon like choices, in terms of your handles and stuff like that. The armor, all that kind of stuff. Loved having a bit more help from Atreus this time around, just being older, and I know some people
do more.
yeah, being able to do more, and I love Atreus as a character this time. I mean, even playing through 2018 again, I was like, oh my god, dude, you are annoying as shit. I'm like, you like, just shut the hell up.
To be fair, that's just a 10-year-old.
Yeah, and we talked about that before. Where
As
it's
someone
like,
with a 10-year-old right now. Yeah,
he's being
that's just a
extremely
10-year-old.
accurate. He's being extremely accurate for his age, but at the same time, I'm Kratos, and I'm like, dog, I have this axe. I swear to God, I'm going to use it on you if you keep talking shit. Like, it's going to end badly. But then in Ragnarok, he's older, and he's honestly, I mean, I think this is a fair assessment for him. Wise beyond his years. Like, he is extremely wise, and is honestly, he's the people like us playing the game where he's seeing two gods get angry and feeling like they have to fight just for the fact that they're gods, and it's like, bros, be cool. Like, we can talk this out. We don't have to be so violent. Whereas I think a lot of people who play the game are kind of like, yeah, we want to see these gods fight, but like, you really don't have to, And Atreus is that person where he's like, you don't have to be so quick to violence. But aside from Atreus, Christopher Judge's Kratos nailed it this year, and that's why he won. And by the way, took the record for the longest acceptance speech in history at 7 minutes and 50 seconds. That record was previously held by someone at the 1949 Oscars or something like that. And they were at 5 minutes. So he beat theirs by a clear 2.5 minute margin. Yeah, I mean, the gameplay is so much fun to me. I've still been going back and playing it. I'm not a typical 100%er, but yet here I am going through trying to beat everything I can in that game. And yeah, I mean, a little thing as well that kind of nailed it for me was Richard Schiff as Odin. For those who don't know him, he was on a show that started in the 90s, went to the late 2000s, called The West Wing. He plays a character on there. And I love that show. My dad and I love that show. So to see him in a major 2022 game as a character that he honestly fits the bill for, playing Odin, he's so perfect. And it's so heartening to see people on Twitter who have no idea who he is playing him, going, "You're the best portrayal of Odin I've ever seen." That's
I did
pretty
not
nice to hear
expect
from
that voice from Odin. Every
You
time I
expect
think
it
of
to be
Odin, I
some
think
sort
a
of
booming.
yeah.
But the way they've depicted him is kind of like a scrawny old man in some sense, right? Where he's not
and how they set him up through 2018. He's paranoid as hell. He wants to know his fate and all that other. They build up to him through 2018 of he's not this massively shredded god who's ready to just tear hell on, which is funny because they probably not only did that because of its expectation subversion, but because it's not something that Kratos. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong because I didn't play the previous games, but most of the people I've seen Kratos fight in the previous games during the Greek stuff they were massive people. They were strong, they were buff, they were cocky, whereas Odin's not any of that. He's not necessarily cocky, he's just scheming. He's just a trickster. He's trying to always find an edge in whatever way he can. And I think that really serves who they build him out to be as. So when you finally see him, his first words are, "How about we truce?"
Yeah.
You don't bother me, I don't bother you, which is exactly what you would expect from a guy who's trying to kill you. It is hey, I won't bother you and you don't bother me. But yet all in the back of his mind, he's like, what I'm doing behind the scenes that you don't know about is going to kill you anyway. So I'm still getting what I want. So yeah, I mean, God of War is an easy number one for me this year. I loved it and I'm still playing it now. I can't wait for New Game Plus in spring, they said. So I'm super excited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of love put into that game. There's a lot of intricacies that some of the details with Odin and everything else that I didn't notice until I saw somebody post about it. Or
music needs to be I know that we talked about this during the Game Awards. I know Brody was it's more of the same, which I agree with, but it fits it so well. There's a scene that Brody hasn't gotten to yet, Nick and I have, where the music kicks up and you don't expect it, and it's just this immediate, almost like a force of wind hitting you. You're like, holy shit, I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't expect the music to hit that way. And I'd actually watch compilations on YouTube of streamers reacting to that scene because it's a massive scene in terms of the game. But when people don't expect this sort of music because it's pretty quiet, and then all of a sudden it ramps in such a way where people are I watched one streamer literally go what? That's the music? It's yeah, it's cinematic. It builds it up. So in the ending, which I won't spoil, is just one of my favorites of all time in gaming. I think I told Nick after I finished it, I was a bit more emotional for that ending than I was for anything that had happened in either of the Last of Us games.
Really? No shit.
I was pretty because I didn't expect it. I'll just leave it at that. I did it just completely blew what I was thinking it was going to happen out of the water, and in a way that kind of was hey, you don't have to be such a piece of shit. You can have some good expectations for games. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. But yeah, no, that's my number one this year. Just totally solo
Nice.
for me.
Hell yeah.
Half
Thanks,
A.
bro. My number one, and it's because of the loop-de-loops that have happened over the last months, and this just makes it in because this happened January 18th of 2022. Will be the Microsoft Activision piece, and just how fucking bad that has gone for them right now.
Fair enough.
Terrible move. One, I think we all are kind of like, hey, that company's definitely not worth that amount of money right now, given
No.
the issues it has. Obviously, new Diablo's coming. That it's got to hit the nail on the head perfect the first time, or they're fucked.
Yeah.
And obviously they have COD, which helps a ton. But the fact that like the FTC has them under investigation, or not under investigation, but they have the deal under investigation, and then the FTC's legal wordage in a lot of the stuff too is, like they use Starfield as an example in the legal paperwork, and Bethesda as an example in legal paperwork, and they literally take Phil Spencer's quote for quote, and saying that they won't put Bethesda games across all platforms for the next X amount of years, and then they didn't, and they're not going to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the FTC just flat out fucking call them out. This shit's not going to pass. It's going to get killed. There's going to be a kill fee of $3 billion that Microsoft has to pay out, which is a lot of money, but it's not a lot for Microsoft. And P3's, bum the fuck out. But also at the same time, much like the crypto and NFT stuff, I think this is a great thing. This is being investigated, and it possibly isn't the thing that's going to happen.
Right.
And that's not from a fucking Sony fanboy fuckhead thing or whatever. It's literally just like, this is not good to consolidate games like this in such small companies. And the other scary part is the FTC has a history of slamming the first time a deal goes through, and then the second time just not putting the effort in when somebody else wants to pick it up. And my worry is that this doesn't go through, and then someone like a Tencent comes in and says they'll pick them up, and then that's a very interesting situation. But I would like the company just to stay on its own, to be honest with you, and I would like first party companies to stop buying shit, and they shouldn't be allowed to buy as much stuff anymore.
Sure.
In the legal stuff, PlayStation makes a really good point in their arguments, in that PlayStation built their business around building games, not buying competitors.
I disagree. A lot of their studios have been bought. To say that they didn't do the same fucking thing is wrong.
No, but they didn't just outright
objectively
buy them.
Wrong.
They work with them.
But they have bought a lot of them.
Yeah,
I can see kind of what you're both.
Wake up one morning and just say, "I've got a shit ton of money. I'm just going to go buy these people. I've never done anything with them."
Right.
That's the difference.
I agree, but to say that they haven't bought them is objectively wrong, right? Like that's all I was trying to point out. Yes, they did work with them prior, but in a lot of cases. But Bungie, I mean, they didn't work with Bungie. They bought up Bungie. Regardless, consolidation, like you said, is not good for the industry as a whole,
Just
but
make
it's on
good
both
games.
sides. It's on both sides, and
I just think just make good
Microsoft
games.
just went as
Brutal.
after a heavier hitter.
Yeah,
Right?
Microsoft's like the guy who's got daddy's money, who just fucking goes and buys the fucking sports car, has no idea how to fucking drive it.
He's got driving a Lambo around Detroit.
My dad got me this. My dad got me it.
Yeah.
As a company, they buy something because they got the fucking money. They destroy it.
I think if
They
Sony had the
mishandle
money,
it.
they would do the same thing, though.
I don't think so.
You know?
I think here's the thing, right? Is that part of my worry is if the deal went through with Xbox, then yes, what you're saying, absolutely, it'd be scorched earth.
Right.
Sony would start doing a bunch of shit, which is fucking terrible for everybody.
Oh, yes.
Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not just because Sony. It would just be like a bunch of massive companies would just start going up and buying shit like crazy because like, well, you could do that. Fuck you. I can use this now against, as a case, right? To get what I want, which is terrible for everybody. And then, like I said before, the other side too is if this fails and the FTC doesn't do their fucking job the second time around, then someone comes in and buys that shit up. And then you've got a somewhat nefarious company owning something for nefarious reasons and not the reasons of making some fucking solid games for a market.
Right.
Yeah.
I would also say that some of the way Sony has handled this has been very fucking childish too. Like it's been fucking whiny as hell. Like I understand it's a huge acquisition. I also don't think it's worth $70 billion.
Absolutely not.
Even with King and Call of Duty. I mean, those are the two heavy hitters there. Like the rest of the franchises, whatever. But I mean, Call of Duty is massive and King is massive. But it's certainly not $70 billion massive, especially with everything going on there. Blizzard's in the fucking just way off and God knows where.
I know. Amongst too, all this sexual harassment lawsuits and other shit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the wisest decision for Microsoft. It's going to take way too long for this to even pay off. I mean, there's no way Candy Crush has that much left to really survive. It will survive in a certain demographic, but it's going to continually start to taper off, right? Like I don't understand how that game can go on.
I don't know how it makes $1 billion
even longer
a year right now.
It's crazy. But regardless, I mean, even if that makes $1 billion and COD makes $1 billion, overall you're making maybe $3 billion total from Activision, and you're paying $70 billion for the fucking thing. Like, it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
It raises a stock price.
Ultimately, I don't. If there was going to be a major company that did end up getting bought up, I think Activision is an okay one, just because they're such a shit show and they only specialize in a couple things anyway. Fucking let them have them if they want them. Like, maybe it will do some good, or maybe it won't.
We can fix them.
Yeah, right. But ultimately, I see too many arguments of like, oh, consolidation is bad, and then it's like, oh, but when Sony does it, it's fine, or vice versa. Like it's this weird fucked up thing where it's like,
it's fucked up. My thing's this is terrible.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think consolidation is not a good thing for the industry because it doesn't allow companies to make awesome indie games like fucking Vampire Survivors or Neon White or whatever. Hotline, yeah, exactly. Like there's so many cool games that come out of indie studios that are way more innovative than anything AAA we see. So it's bad for the industry as a whole. I think the whole fucking thing's just a shit show, and at this point it's like watching a fucking soap opera, and I hate everything about it. Yeah, I'm ready for all of it to either get squashed and never be brought up again, because if the FTC is going to kill it for Microsoft, they need to kill it for everybody. Especially if a Tencent tries to come in, and it's like, that one's a major fucking issue, because that is even more of an issue than Xbox buying them. If Xbox buys them, who the fuck cares at the end of the day? Like, whatever. But if Tencent buys them, that's a fucking problem.
It's a whole thing, yeah.
But I don't know. I would agree. It's been interesting to watch over the last year, but ultimately, I'm fucking kind of over it. Also, at the same time, I feel like I've talked in circles around this fucking thing.
They'll probably just make them split as a whole.
Who did Sony buy after this? It was like shortly after they bought
Bungie.
Bungie, that's who it was. I was trying to remember what it was.
Which they bought them, I would argue, for a steal. They bought them for like $7 billion. And Destiny 2 is Destiny like one of the largest live service games going on right now, aside from like
other project that comes out in 2025 too.
Yeah, so and on top of that, I mean, the amount of money that game brings in is fucking wild. Yeah, it is a die-hard fan base.
I'd see them, if it doesn't get through, they'd have to probably break up Activision and Blizzard.
Yeah, I would
Sell
imagine
separately
so.
to different parties.
Do you think Blizzard would just die after that?
I wouldn't doubt
They're
it.
still make an ass.
They'd
ton of
get
money.
bought up by
as
somebody.
much as we say they suck, they still make an ass ton of money. So
They do. They do for newer games, right? You still have the
it's
older
a
stuff that
hit-driven
they.
business. So if you take time, right, you delta, and you just
Yeah.
sit there and go, eventually they would possibly
Right.
make another fucking
Sure.
hit that would just kill it.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
they're
definitely.
making significantly less money than they were a few years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
just fire people and fucking spin up other teams. Keep your good.
Yeah. I think Blizzard would end up getting
Jesus
bought up
Christ.
by like fucking
Nick. That's the world. I mean, it's.
I know
fat,
it is.
too. There's so much fucking fat in video.
I
game
could see
dev, it's
Blizzard-
crazy.
I could see Blizzard getting bought up by like a THQ Nordic or some shit.
Yeah, if it got split, that'd be a.
If
pretty
it splits,
solid
that's
fit.
about the only place I see it going.
That'd be a pretty solid fit. I think.
Yeah.
Too.
So to round out this episode here, and
Top it off.
Fuck, this
I
is a
won't
long
talk
one.
about it. Huh? This has been a
3
long one.
hours.
Yeah, this has been
We,
fucking
we,
long.
we really did it this time.
My number one, and I'll keep it short and sweet because I've talked about this game at length, and I'm not going to be a bitch and not mention it like Nick. Elden Ring. Elden Ring is 100% my number one. It got me into a franchise that I did not give a shit about prior. I adore this game. I put a shitload of time into it, and
With your friends.
with my friends, yeah. And ultimately, at the end of the year here, I did not have a better time in gaming than I did with Elden Ring. And
Nice.
I mean, Nick and I did a whole episode about it. So if you want to hear our thoughts on it, you can go back and find that. But other than that, that's my number one.
Nice.
And I would be remiss to not put that there
I
personally.
didn't even play it, and it was my honorable mention just because of how much it blew up.
Yeah.
And the fact that it won
I
the
do
game
have.
of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't even have it.
100% belongs there. I have one more honorable mention I wanted to throw out there too. Fall Guys going free to play.
Yes.
Bro,
Okay.
I thought about this, but then I didn't. I didn't put it down because I didn't
Yeah.
know if it was like if it was too small or not.
No, I thought it was just the way that kind of revitalized that game where I mean we had our whole Discord playing it at one point where we
Yeah,
were all
that's
hopping in and playing, and granted it was short lived, but it was still cool.
That's also
like
Fall Guys for you.
Still has
Though.
great
that's
updates, too.
it's spurts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just wanted to throw that out there as an honorable mention because I thought it was a really cool fucking thing.
I have an honorable.
Yeah.
My last one.
Elden Ring.
R.I.P.
Asshat.
G4.
Bro, they
We
have
knew it was gonna-
Kanto and Fall Guys now.
Bro, you couldn't have
Kinda.
even made it. You couldn't even made it worse,
Yeah.
bro. His honorable mention was Rip G4. What did you expect to happen? Did you?
Well, that if you listen, I said
Oh
we
my
all
God,
expected that
Nick,
to happen.
I didn't even
What?
think about that because I
R.I.P.
watched their
G4.
programming and the rest of America and the world didn't either. Yeah, that's right.
That's why they died again.
Hence Rip.
That's a great
Yeah.
fucking point. Yeah, fuck, they sucked.
Yeah, Adam Sessler did not
Here's
do.
what's crazy about that too is Adam Sessler then like after it shut down, they paraded like I don't know 4 or 5 people from the network around to like different podcasts and shows, and it was like the saddest fucking thing to watch, but also incredibly great to see Adam Sessler just get fucked again. In that he's basically like, yeah, you know, it didn't work out, but you know, if you know where myself and some of these people find people could work in the video game journalist industry, let me know. And my thing would be, fucking nowhere, bro, because you're a toxic piece of shit.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
He's a huge fucking asshole,
I've heard he's a giant dick,
giant douche.
which sucks because like there's a lot of his
Absolutely
points when
sucks.
we talk about
Grew up-
games.
Grew up watching his shit.
Yep,
Thought
I
he was a
loved
nice
watching him
guy.
on X Play
Guy's
with
fucking wild.
Morgan.
Guy's crazy on Twitter, absolute nutcase.
Yep, but yeah, that's my honorable mention.
That's
I don't
fine.
have any
That is a
more.
really good one that I forgot about because nobody gave a
don't
fuck
have,
about G4, but that is really good now.
I cared when it first dropped. I was like, oh, cool, my childhood.
dude,
but
I
it was the
cared-
nostalgia. It was the
cared
rose tinted
too.
glasses. It was
Dude,
the rose tinted glasses.
I care too. I still have a downloaded episode of Attack of the Show on my iTunes.
Yeah, I was on
Oh,
Attack of
right.
the Show once.
You were fucking.
One
you
time.
weren't. No,
Oh,
you weren't.
yes, I was. Yes, I was, because it was during the kick. What was it? What was it called? Stickam days, and I got on the episode talking about the Indiana Jones sequel.
Show me.
Absolutely, I was.
Show me.
My grandma DVR'd it way back in the day. I'll see if she still has it. I was on an episode of Attack of the Show. Yep, with my scene hair and everything. And I was wearing a bandana over my head.
We're in
Oh
the
my
audience.
God.
No, I like on the so like they did this thing where viewers could on Stickam call in, and I was on a panel of 5, and I was on Attack the Shows, and Kevin Pereira interviewed me, talk about Indiana Jones, and
Oh my god.
I said, yeah, it was cool up until the stupid ass scene when Indiana Jones was in the refrigerator and I got skipped on air.
Damn.
There's no shocker there. Wow.
Yep, I was on
Local-
I was on that episode. Yep.
Local man gets ignored.
I wonder if we can find that. I'm gonna look for it. Let's
right.
wrap this up.
Yeah, are we done?
Yes.
I believe so. Yeah, we're there.
We did it, boys. We did it.
Holy
It was
cow.
the
Counted down
Crystal
our top 10
Skull.
of the year.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously the one with legendary actor Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Anyways,
Um,
were we all good? Any more honorable
Yeah.
mentions?
I
We're
think
all
we
good.
Okay, cool. Okay, gonna wrap it up real quick because we're fucking 3 hours. Is this a record?
I don't think so.
I don't
I think
so.
we've gone longer somehow.
God, that's sad. Discord, it's
hurt.
free. Come join.
This is
it.
like an episode of Giant Bomb.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Link is below. It's free. It's wonderful. There's dank memes talking about a bunch of great stuff. Great community to be part of. Check the link below in the show notes. You can find us on youtube.com/SpawnCampCo, Instagram and Twitter at Diggity Podcast. And then you find fellas, Nikki, you want to give your stuff, plug your stuff, and then close us out.
Yes. So WASD and Beyond comes back in 2023. First week. Evan and I have already got the episode recorded. So we will see you guys 2023. We release episodes every Friday. Hot fixes will return. More normal, I would say. If there's no news, like I've said before, we will not do a hot fix. If there's something worth talking about, we will do a hot fix, but we plan on doing more. We also plan on streaming more. The entire Spawn Camp plans on streaming more. That's including the Build Bros. So get ready for some cool Gundam shit. Get ready for some cool fucking gameplay from Evan and myself, especially watching Evan play FPS. Fucking insane. So WASD has a lot of cool shit.
Don't
Shut up,
prop me
bitch.
up like that.
So WASD has a lot of cool shit going on in 2023, and we're excited for you guys to be sticking around with us and the entire Spawn Camp as a whole. That is us, Diggity Podcast Build Bros, and we are going to actually revitalize OBO this year. It is happening. It's taking time. We're all busy. I had to move. I bought a house. There you go.
There it is.
I had to do the thing. Everyone makes
I
fun
bought
of
a
me.
house.
So yes, please check out the entire Spawn Camp. We would all appreciate it. Like, subscribe, follow us, do whatever you got to do. Show us to your friends. It means the world to us.